Hey everybody, welcome to the PM&A podcast.
What is going on?
Number 20. Can you, wow. Woo, 20. Oh guys, I'm pretty excited about number 20. Welcome guys. So, thanks for listening to the podcast. This podcast is brought to you by, listen back to what podcast was he on again?
10?
Was it
10?
number 10?
I think it was 10.
Podcast 10, we had our buddy John Watson, and he was talking about, we talked about this before, but he was talking about how he does online gaming, and then he records and has a YouTube channel, and his YouTube channel is called General Watson, and he's hilarious. He raps when he plays games, he plays old school rap, and he, shit talks. It's hilarious. It's some pretty entertaining.
It's first person shooter.
But the videos
game, right?
are only 5 minutes.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it doesn't take I think that's a good idea for videos. I don't have that much of an extension span.
Yeah, he does all the editing on it. He's so proud of himself. I was talking to him the other day. He's like, I got a green screen, and every now and then he'll give us
his get up with the hat and the glasses and stuff. Anyway, we just want you to go and watch his videos because he's just a cool guy and they're entertaining, and he's just
they're pretty good.
Yeah,
they're entertaining.
He's our brother, so
yeah.
Podcast number 10. Welcome, Nick from #Hope, the founder, the speaker, the guy. How's it going, man?
It's here. We're here.
I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy.
This is crazy.
This has been a long time coming. If everybody remembers, a couple podcasts ago, maybe 4 or 5, Nick was raising money to get a new car because his other one decided to take a dump, I guess, and didn't want
Multiple
It
times.
does. It did what cars do.
I watched your videos, because he had an Instagram for the car.
Oh, it exists.
It's still there?
NPEG's Volvo. It's
Yeah.
Volvo, but
and I
without
followed
the L.
that right from the start, and I was watching the videos pour you in the wintertime, trying to get started. Man, trying to get to work on time. You're like, I'm going to be an hour and a half late, and buddy, that car was just trouble.
It was the license plate should have been the struggle is real or something. I don't know. But yeah, that was a 98 Volvo S70 that I got at an auction in Toronto. And honestly, I drove that thing forever. And it was awesome.
You drove all over Canada.
Yeah, I actually just today, shout out today, I just posted a YouTube video on my YouTube channel. Whoa. And it is me out in the East Coast, living in that car. Mm-hmm. And I'm waking up, and I'm you can see how I made this bed where my feet go in the trunk and the seats fold down and stuff.
What's up, man?
It was wild times. But yes, thank you. You guys have been shouting out this GoFundMe. So the car broke down. I got this GoFundMe going. I need new wheels in order to keep doing what I'm doing. And here you guys are, episode 20.
Yeah.
But prior to that, just shouting out this campaign. So I really appreciate it.
We're happy to help, man.
Yeah, we have mad respect to what you do, and we'll get into what you do, but thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
We've been trying to put this together for a while, and I was like, can you do this date? Oh, I'm busy doing this, and then finally we're like, let's do this.
No, it's here's 7 dates, and then I'm yeah, okay, well, that day I'm in Florida, and then actually I'm in Leamington this day, and I'm in Orangeville over here, and it was just I'm sorry.
You're a busy guy.
So, and Jeremy was saying you were working out west as well?
No, I was. What's
Sorry.
that?
Go ahead.
I was working in Chatham, Kent. If you know where that is.
yeah.
Chatham.
Yeah.
It is west of here.
Yes, I know where that is.
But it's the prairies of Ontario,
Yes.
which is where I'm kind of from. So I left Cambridge for a bit and moved back. Worked with my dad for a little bit, and then came back here to keep pursuing.
#Hope.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it was this long grind to try and buy a new car. But then I
Well, they're
came
not
back.
cheap.
No. And the cheap ones that are good go so quickly.
Yeah.
You know what's a horrible universe?
Kijiji?
The Kijiji universe.
Yeah.
Listen, don't be hating on the Kijiji.
Hey, for cars though, have you ever
Yeah,
tried to
no,
buy
I
a car
agree.
on it?
Have you ever
agree.
tried to sell a car?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. You're sitting on it for a long time unless that
Or
thing
the
is made
people are
of
just
gold.
coming and kicking your tires.
Insult after
Yes.
insult.
Yeah. I got $5. Yeah.
I'll just come take it from you. What?
Yeah.
No, I want money.
Yeah, I'll just take it to the scrapyard for you. Don't worry about it. I'm
I
doing
want
you a favor.
$600 for my car, okay? So people are it's not worth that much. I'm well, actually, it probably is worth that much, but okay, what do you offer? I'll give you 125.
What?
125.
What's the $25 for? That's kind of awesome.
I can get 300 for scrap, so why would I do that?
Did you learn a lot about cars by having that car? Like
I learned a lot about that car by having that car.
Yeah.
But what I really learned about is the Volvo or however the heck you say it, universe or world, that there is a subculture.
There is.
Of dudes.
Yep.
Who own these cars.
I work with a guy that had one, and it's crazy much he's into
You'll
it.
never know about them if you don't own one, or if you don't know someone who owned one. But these guys are just like, they're like injecting drugs of Volvo into themselves so that they can
Is it
they
like
can
you
keep
can't
these.
talk about the Volvo Club? The first rule of Volvo.
It is a little bit like
it
Fight
first rule?
Club. Yeah, it is like that. Where man, it's like if you've got it, you're full in. You're 100% in this. I don't want to say cult, but it's kind of the.
So you're
cult.
from Cambridge originally?
I have no idea.
Oh, he's from Chatham, Kent.
I'm from.
No, but you were in this area though, right? I'm just saying because I know a guy that I think he was in a club that was in the area.
Were you part of the club?
With
yeah.
Volvos.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Big shout out to the GTA Volvos Club.
Do they have an Instagram?
They don't have an Instagram. I should start it.
Yeah.
Like a Facebook or something.
Premium real estate. And I've actually checked the handle. It doesn't exist, so I could grab it. Let's grab it right now.
Do it while I'm talking.
But the Facebook group is what's up. Shout out to Rawad, who I don't know if he started it, but he definitely mods it. But that group, one, if you don't know something about your car, they'll help you, but they will razz the crap out of you in the meantime. Like, oh, you drink all the coolant out of your radiator there, huh? What'd you do, huh? You get thirsty? I don't know, yeah. Something like that.
Did you hit a moose and then drive it for
So anyway, if anyone in the area owns, or in the greater Toronto area owns a Volvo, the L fell off mine, so I call it a Vovo, and became a meme. Anyway, in my little circle.
You have a pretty big circle.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Okay, if you've ever dove into, like, as you probably are on your podcast, stats and like analytics and stuff.
Yeah.
You can.
All
the
time.
You can get into like percentages and like click rates and whatever.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 Instagram accounts with over 2,000 followers. So I'm like checking on those. Okay, I see like, okay, there's like 500 people who never check out anything and whatever. But I have this car account that has just broke 200 followers, and it has like 98% interaction rate. This car, because people are like, I gotta know what's happening. I posted like rusty old car parts, and they're like 600 likes.
This needs to be liked.
I was on a forum for my motorcycle, and I was like, there is nobody gonna be on this thing. And I think there was maybe about 30 people on it, but same deal. Like almost daily, everybody's like, so is everybody's bike running? I'm like, okay, this is a little bit too personal.
Yeah, babe.
What are you wearing today, kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, that happened.
Do you shower at night?
Yeah. What kind of soap are you using? I thought I could smell you through here.
Okay.
Going to hit
There's like all these, like, at least in the Volvo group I'm in, it's just like post a photo of what your car looks like right now.
I want to know today.
Yeah, and so everyone's like doing it in the comments.
Like, didn't you just post some photos about this photography thing you won?
So I got a new car.
We know.
Huge shout out to the GoFundMe people. So if anyone listening even shared the link, thank you to that. We raised enough money to haggle a guy down on Kijiji and buy a car.
Another Volvo.
And I bought, a big, beefy horsepower station wagon Volvo XC70.
Rad.
Right out of a parking garage in Mississauga, off a dude who hardly spoke English, but he was Russian. He was actually from the Ukraine. And I'm like, so, like, what did you use the car for? And
you can ask the
and he's
question.
like, family and work. I'm like, well, what do you do for work? He's like,
family business.
Security.
Oh, private security.
I was like, oh, security. Yeah. So I'm like, interested.
Yeah, you're like,
and I'm like, oh, did you protect any famous people? And he's like, probably. That's it. He's like, so do you like the car?
Yeah.
My friend,
I don't know yet.
No more questions.
Questions too much. I pay you to stop asking.
Yeah. So he wanted 4,000. Okay, didn't have it at the time, but I was like, so we look over the car, and my friend Alex there showed up, and so I walk over. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to like offer this guy like less money than he wants. Like I'm terrified. So I walk up and I'm like, well, with trying to do the nonprofit thing and whatever, I can give you $3,400. And I've never felt like someone has looked into my soul before, but this dude in a parking garage, nobody around, like could easily have just killed us. No one would know. And he's like, okay.
Yep. I was gonna
So
say
we got it.
I would have said
Was there-
start at 32
Did
and
you-
then go to 34. But
Was there blood stains in the back? Or, like,
No, it's really clean. I guess his wife drove it. We met her after. She's like, oh, you bought my car. I'm like, oh, okay.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like
Nice.
it's really there's no rust. Mid 200,000 kilometers, so it is.
But
what
that's
is.
nothing for those kind of cars,
Yeah.
right?
5 cylinders, made in Sweden.
Yeah,
Wow.
those Swedes know what's
good to
up.
go.
They know,
So,
they know what
Diesel
that means.
or gas?
It is petrol. Yeah.
Oh.
Das
Yeah.
Petrol.
Das.
Oh.
No,
That's German.
That's
I think.
German.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
It's
any.
wrong
I don't
Wrong
think.
language.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't even know.
Scrata de Florida.
So
I don't remember what the question was. I just started
yeah,
telling you
no,
about
it's
this
okay.
Russian guy.
No,
wanted
we
to
were
hear
talking about
this.
the,
I loved. Yeah, we were talking about the hashtag Hope GoFundMe and how we were shitting you out, and that was it. We were
Very
going forward.
grateful. Very grateful. So thank you.
So let's start from the beginning, if you don't mind.
Oh, man.
So you and I know each other from a long time ago. We went to school together. That's how
Yep.
we met. Just so people know, that's how Nick and I know
Yeah.
and knew each other. I don't know if we hung out.
No, we had a middle connection.
Yeah.
Ready for this?
Yep.
Known as Alistair Keddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the man.
So which school was this?
Heritage.
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 College
okay.
and seminary.
Seminary.
Were you staying in residence as well then?
I did live in residence.
Mhm.
Caused havoc in a bit of residence.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh.
No.
See, you lived there the year after I was not living there. I was going to the school, but I wasn't living there.
Yeah, you were going to the school.
You
That's
were
right, yeah.
upsetting the homeschoolers.
Ooh, yeah. Well, it doesn't take much to upset a homeschooler. You just simply tell them something that they don't know, which is a lot.
Oh, really?
Unfortunately. Yeah. Well, some of them are pretty cool. I knew like knowing them now. I know them as people.
Yeah.
Great people.
As people.
Great people.
Great people. It's
Love
like
'em.
it's just like they get there and there's new experiences happening and they just don't know what the right action or reaction is.
Yeah.
So
Social-
they just kind of pause and go, I don't know what to think about this. That's it.
Socially, they have no
Do you think they enter?
cues.
Yeah.
Easy there.
That's not me.
That is you. I watched you do
I didn't-
that.
I didn't-
Anyway, what?
Do you think they treat that as like Christian mingle? Do you think they're just like, I'm
Dude, it's
coming
called
here to
bridal
find a
college.
wife? Is it
For a
really?
reason. Yeah, yeah.
Is it seriously?
I would say maybe
Oh, yeah.
90%
It
of
was
the
a joke.
couples, 90% of the couples that get together stay together. Would you agree?
Yeah.
At least 90%.
There's a kind of a sad phenomenon that happens and you see it in some of the ladies and even dudes that leave eventually you leave Bible college somehow.
do.
Eventually.
Out of the bubble.
Pop. And a lot of people leave single and there's a bit of like a stigma. It's like, oh, you failed. You didn't find
Seriously?
a partner. And it's not spoken, whatever. But
Because I guess I failed.
It's like a weird sort of for some people. For me, like I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's not my people.
Yeah.
But the girl who I'm crazy about right now, I actually moved her in to Heritage her first year.
You did.
I was
You dog.
yeah. So
So
I'm not one to
so
talk.
it worked out for you. I dated a girl at Bible college. I dated a girl. Yep. There was-
Well, do you remember when I came to see you? You were doing that coffee house thing.
yeah.
Very cool.
And I came in to watch him play, and I was kind of looking around the room, and I was just kind of scanning. You know, guys just scan the room, and I wasn't looking for a mate. I was just kind of looking around the room, and I was just looking at some of the ladies walking by, and all of a sudden you see the dudes kind of stare at you, give you a face. I'm like,
Oh,
Jared,
yeah.
what's their problem? He's like,
You're on their
it's-
turf,
He's
bro.
like, yeah, you're kind of looking at their possession.
Well, because you don't look Bible college-ish. You don't like. There's a vibe. There's a. Maybe I didn't either. I don't know. Maybe at the time I was a little bit more preppy. I think. But
Did you have the hand tattoo at the time?
Not at all.
Okay.
Nope.
No.
Any tattoos?
You
No,
had that
not in my
one.
first year. Not in my first
Really?
year.
You
Okay.
didn't have that
No.
one?
I had my tops of my. What do you call this?
Shoulders.
Top of my shoulders done, both of them. So I just kept them in the DL. But after my first year, then I just went hog wild with tattoos because I was like living in my car,
Nice.
making money, just like
Nice.
I'm getting a bunch of tattoos. I don't live at home anymore. That's kind of what started me. But no, I didn't have any. I had a weird attitude though. Like I was completely different than most of the people there. But we caused a little bit of havoc at the beginning. But you eventually morph into everyone else's kind of like thinking as you go there for so long. But I loved it, but I didn't finish school. I probably did 3 years of my 4-year degree. so I didn't finish it.
Neither did I. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Sweet. We're both
Didn't
dropouts.
do it.
Yeah. But as of the last podcast,
Unfortunately, they did some changes financially, and I just didn't align with me, and I didn't want to put money into it. And I'm doing something that I love now. I'm going to school for it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unreal.
yeah,
Did
Which
the
is
la-
like
sorry.
that super specific
yes, you know, yeah,
brain
you know,
something or other.
yeah, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. As Ernie, like, thanks for bleeping over that, Ernie. Actually,
I apologize.
really appreciate that. Sorry, everybody's eardrums. But yeah, so started off. We know each other from Heritage, and then so you started hashtag Hope.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I'm not from Cambridge. I'm from Chatham-Kent area.
Yeah.
But I then went to high school in Sarnia and couldn't wait to leave Sarnia and basically became a Christian like out of like right after like grade 12
Really?
is when I was like okay, I'm
When
gonna
you're like, I'm taking this.
yeah, I
serious.
was going to youth group and stuff, but
Yep. We went to youth group probably for one reason.
yeah,
most
oh
guys-
yeah,
yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I did the same thing out of high school. I was like, okay, so I'm gonna start taking this seriously. I gotta
Yeah.
start understanding that I have a faith and I'm gonna make it part of my life. I think.
Yeah.
And I made that choice. I feel like I didn't really like get a home run or do anything that until maybe like when I first started going to Heritage, though, for sure. I started really just like taking it on and being like, and then I took it way too far. I think I took it
Yeah.
way too far.
And it happens.
Yeah.
I think I did as well. Like
Yeah.
I came out of the gate flying. Like,
Yep.
oh, if this is real, if God exists, then that is the only meaning for living. And you then take that on as purpose and you just
You
go
run.
and you're like, why I have to serve, I have to worship, I have to whatever. And where
Street
do I go?
evangelize.
Where do I put myself? Oh, you put yourself in Bible college. And that's where
Yeah.
I found it. And it was like, okay, well, obviously I go to Bible college and
Yeah.
yeah, spent all the money that the government would
Buddy.
give me
I know.
in OSAP, I gave it to them.
Yeah. And it's a lot of money.
I
And
get-
people out there who don't know, Bible colleges are usually private, and
Yeah.
your colleges and universities that are public are subsidized by the government. Bible colleges are not subsidized. You're paying full tuition. You're paying almost close to $1,000 a course.
It's more than that now, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a course. When most people pay like $200 or $300.
Right. Yeah, I hear about
Seriously.
people at like Waterloo and stuff, and they're like taking like super specific high-end university classes, and they're like, yeah, it's like $400.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
I'm like, geez, Louise.
I could make that in a weekend. I could drive Uber and make it. Like, let's go.
Yeah, it's a little expensive.
So yeah, I'm digging out of that. So anyway, I find myself at Bible college, trying to understand the universe, trying to understand myself, trying to understand like where I fit, what would faith mean for me, why would I choose this, you know. And you have a great place to do that. You have a bit of a bias when you're there. There's a lot of parts of the world that are just straight up wrong when you're there, so you're kind of sheltered from those. You're within this bubble, in this culture, in this society that's really pushing you to live certain ways and be certain ways and be afraid of other things because you're living in this overarching expectation that you're a Christian and you need to act
Certain way.
in a certain way. Yeah. And even if you go into an environment, you're as a Christian, you're expected to just not even be supposed to leave that environment like right away or something like that. So eventually I just got really frustrated. Like, yeah, I was stoked on like diving into these really ancient like texts that have been translated for all these years and like what could it mean and that would fulfill this like knowledge gap or something in my life. But I just found myself being really angry all the time when I was there. Especially I
Really?
was living in dorm and like I just felt like I'd be listening to quote unquote screamo, like heavier music and people I just felt like people didn't get me. It's not their fault that they don't get me, but I just really never felt like I was there. You know.
Well, I feel like that they all got each other, and so if you were not part of that, you really felt like isolated.
Right.
So for me, I had the same kind of experience. Like I didn't do a lot of stuff when I lived on dorm. I had a job and I had places to go, and I would come and go to school, but then I had to go. I had to go work. I was
Right.
paying for everything myself, so I didn't have mom and dad or trust fund. Like I was doing it all on my own, so I didn't interact as much as I could. So there was like it's very cliquey. Everybody
Yeah.
likes each other.
Yeah, if
And
you're not there.
and if you're not part of it, part of their little groups and stuff, you totally feel isolated because there's like all these little jokes, all these little things happen because it's such a small community. What do you think? Like maybe like 400, 500 kids? Not
I think
even?
there's 100 people at max that can live on the campus.
Yeah, so
and then it's probably like 300 total.
It's like a super small community, and they're all very cliquey. And if you don't fit in, you're really like, oh man, I'm really isolated. Like
now, coming out of Heritage, I think it was a really good place for me to go. Like I was in such a malleable state, and it would have been really easy to get sucked into like the hierarchies, the legalism, the elitism of the culture, and say like, oh, you're wrong for that, and I'm right for this, and I'm better, and because of this. I think I was like given such a blessing of like grace to not get sucked into like telling people that they're so wrong. I felt a little bit coming back myself because I'd never wanted to really hang out with people on campus, but I felt like my first year I was like, oh, tell me how to live. And then the second year I was like, oh my gosh, I need to not be looking at how to live, but like just relaxing in life and understand that I'm a human being and I do get to be a human being in that sense. But yes, it has its problems, but I do find benefit of going there.
Me too. I made some really good friendships, and I found myself in a situation where there was an extreme view of logic and ethics and stuff, and very entrenched in it. But then you can kind of look at it from a different view, and then understand it. Like my brother and I, we grew up, went to church. We went to, actually, even not just church. Ernie and I went to a private school growing up, Temple Baptist.
Oh yeah, you're homegrown.
Yeah. So, but unfortunately, I got kicked out of the school inevitably. Ernie left it because my parents were like, well, if one son's not going, the other one's not going to go. Yeah. So we grew up in that kind of idealism and the Baptist kind of way of things, and like really grew up in it. But it wasn't for me, obviously, because they kicked me out. I was just too much of a troublemaker and didn't care about scholastics.
Nice.
But it's just so. I'm repeating what you're saying. Yes, it was a good experience. I loved it. I had a good time, and I learned a lot. Learned a lot about myself. So it was a good experience. I don't regret it. It was just so expensive for me to kind of hang out.
Yeah.
Learn about myself to hang out. Mind you,
yeah.
It's okay on the resume. It said 3 years. I got that right on there.
So you started #Hope when you were in school then?
So I'm in dorm on this little hill.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
Keep it up. Ernie's gonna keep us on track here.
So I'm living in dorm, and I find like I think I had gone a few years with like living in this mirage or something of just being like stoked on being alive. But in high school, like before going to college, obviously, I was very sad, and I didn't really acknowledge it. I never put the stake or the flag in it and called it like, yeah, like I don't really want to be here. I just thought I was darker, or I thought like I just saw the world in a cynical state. And it wasn't until I was in dorm that I think I finally just said like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be here. Like I don't want to live. Like this sucks. Like it actually sucks to live. And you're living in this state of like, oh, I need to live at a certain standard to be seen as a proper functioning human, and whatnot, and all those weights start weighing down on your shoulders or whatever. So anyway, I found myself just being sad in dorm, and I never told a story like this before, but I got this. So Twitter was just peaking at like, what would this be, 2011, 2012 maybe, and I find myself living in dorm at a Bible college, and Twitter is peaking, and here I am like loving Twitter. And I was like, you know what I should do? I should help people like me. Like, so if I'm sad, I know people are sad. And you know that on Twitter, you can like search, like right in the search function, you can just search a phrase and it'll pull people who are tweeting those exact words.
I didn't know that.
So
I don't know Twitter.
Yeah, I don't fuck with Twitter.
Really the same as Instagram, but with words.
Okay.
And a lot more words, a lot of words.
Isn't it like specifically 250 words or something?
Yeah, it used to be 140, now it's 250 or something.
I'm really surprised it's taken off, especially with people's attention spans as it is. You know
like
what I mean?
Twitter?
Like, yeah. Because you think like Instagram would be doing a heck of a lot better than Twitter, but from what I've heard, Twitter has like amazingly huge numbers for it. Because you think people's attention span is only about that big right now, especially when they're cutting down YouTube videos and like,
right.
And they're even talking about Netflix videos not being so long, like, and stuff like that. And it's kind of crazy to think that that's as good as it is, especially with people's attention spans.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's
so
huge.
So you were able to from the actual app itself go to the hashtags and look all that up.
Well, not even hashtag. You can just search like keywords, and so you can search "I want to kill myself" in the search function and hit go, and you will find a stream of people on Twitter around the world tweeting that. Like, just going. You could do it right now. It's still happening. People just saying it. So what I thought would be a great idea is if someone who also is hurting and wants to die, that I should reach out to those people, because we should go through this together, and we should. For some reason, I was like, well, we shouldn't die. I'd made a decision to not kill myself, stay living. So why don't I extend that sort of lesson in perseverance out to other people around the world? How can I do that? Well, let's use Twitter. So I just was all night. I remember just multiple nights in a row, just staying up trying to have these huge conversations with people who are tweeting this.
Like real heavy.
Did that take you down like quite the wormhole when you did that? I'm just thinking you're going to get those people that actually want help, and you're going to get those interesting people that are just posting stuff, like trolling, you know what I mean? That are just looking for interesting responses and looking for, let's see if I can make an interesting thread that's going to get me some followers, get me some likes, and get me a bunch of stuff like that.
Pretty heavy thing just to throw out on Twitter, though. I want to kill myself, and then for nothing, though. What do you think?
There's people that do less than that on Instagram, trying to look for followers and for attention.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it's like, if you're gonna start, if you're like, okay, I want more followers, how can I get it? I know what I should say. I should say I'm gonna die or I want to die on Twitter. You probably do feel that way, but you probably at the same time want more followers. So you're like, oh, let's leverage that and just throw it out there and see if I can get some response back. And a lot of people say, oh, they're doing it for attention. Well, they probably are. They probably feel very alone, and they want someone to acknowledge them because they don't feel like they're a worthy human being. So
I would just be worried about being taken advantage of. You know what I mean? Like to see that you're trying to put your heart out there to do what you know is right and what you want to fix, and then all of a sudden it's just somebody that's just kind of using the word catfishing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I like at that time it was like I was just doing it. Because say I hit up 10 people and 2 people responded, maybe it would mean something.
So it doesn't have to be a hashtag, sorry, it's just a phrase in the tweet, really?
Yep. You can do it with or without an account. So I just had this week where I was having these massive conversations, and like you mentioned, it just is so difficult. One, how the heck would that work if you should stay alive? Here's a random dude from Canada, 3 a.m. to some 13-year-old girl in England. So I mean, it would have value, but you can't even have proper conversations on Twitter, just because you're at the time limited, you're just so capped. So from this, I'm like, wow, you can reach, but you almost can't give. But I know you can reach. So what if I changed it up and just kind of sent them some content or sent them an idea, right, or a concept, in the same manner as oh, hey, I'll let's talk about it. Oh, you want to die? Let's talk about it. What if I just sent them something quick that really didn't take much from me, but could mean a lot if someone really was in a place of this is the moment before it's over, type of thing. So I was like, man, and at the time I was trying to tweet really deep ideas from within myself, which I look back on now, it's so very basic, but I would cap everything at the end #hope. So I would say just some positive thing and then #hope. And so I started on my NPEG Twitter account, same search, different night, and I would just respond to people with #hope. And you could rip out 1,000 a minute, just down and keep going. Next thing you notice, people are like, wow, thank you, sending me direct messages why did you do this? And then you've opened this door of well, actually I believe that you should exist. You should keep existing. It would be worth it for you to keep existing. Even if I didn't believe it within myself, I was I really wanted to. And I think maybe I was projecting out and be if I can help you find it, maybe I can find it myself. We're in deep. I've never told anyone that, but we're in real deep on that concept. So next thing I know, I tweet out you are not a wasted life, #hope. Just, I had 30 followers on Twitter. They were all Bible college people. And after 2 or 3 nights of doing this, just tweeting people #hope, not the word hashtag, but the actual symbol, because it would give this broad concept of there is hope in some way. It's out there. After a couple nights of that, this "You Are Not a Wasted Life" tweet got 300-400 retweets. I felt like a famous person. It was crazy, and it was whoa, there's something about this.
Yeah, something to it. Yeah.
So in truest origin form, that's where sort of like the name of this project comes from,
like
or
the
this
genesis of it.
yeah, is I was sad and didn't want to exist, and I was trying to help people within that, and out came this #hope concept. So I'm like, well, I should take this off of my own personal accounts and make something out of it. I had like kind of an eye for branding, or like maybe I thought I could do this through music. But anyway, I started like a separate #hope Twitter account at #hopeca, and all night it would just do that. It would tweet people in response to them wanting to die. Even at one point, built a bot. Had a friend help me where if somebody like used the exact line like I want to kill myself, or I'm going to kill myself, or something along those lines, it would auto bot tweet them #hope with like some anti-suicide links.
Yeah.
But that bot like malfunctions all the time, and you find
that still
yourself just
exist?
tweeting everyone.
Does that exist still today?
Yeah, I can hit up the guy that helped me build it. And it's around. It was all through Firefox and Grease Monkey, which was this add-on script. People used it to people use script like that to like hack Farmville. They would like I never played Farmville, but you could use it to like build a bot to auto harvest your crops all the time. So here I am trying to
you're
like
using it to save people's lives, and people are using it to harvest
like why do you need
digital
to be good at
farm
Farmville?
goods. Oh boy.
So that's the origin of where this thing came from. I at the same time had an opportunity to be the MC of a youth conference in Toronto, and I was like, man, how can I bring this #hope thing along to this, because it's a group of young people. And I was like, I'm gonna make a t-shirt. So I made a terrible t-shirt that said it's okay to not be okay. I didn't have a banner. I had business cards that had like the Twitter on it. Put it on a table and sold out in like 40 minutes, and the rest is history.
And you just I want to know about that history. Just we gotta go home now.
So when you were when you were tweeting out to other people,
Sure.
What things would you be tweeting out them to? Nicely
I want to hear it.
done.
Yeah.
Nicely
What is
done.
that, by the way?
I don't know. I got it at Zares. It is a cider.
It's a hard cider.
Yeah, it is.
Bro.
Yeah, that's on record.
Ooh. Tasty.
Yeah, I broke Edge like a year and a half ago.
I remember when I was actually that day I was there when you broke Edge for Alistair's wedding.
Yeah.
I was there.
What is broke edge?
Broke Edge is when is when someone's been straight edge for probably, what were you, like 10 years, I think you said?
Yeah.
Straight edge is when you don't do drugs, you don't drink, you're just kind of focused on a pretty clean lifestyle.
Okay.
And then he broke edge as in he drank for the first time for his friend's wedding.
Yep.
I was there that day.
Yep.
We broke edge together. Actually, I wasn't
Wow.
straight edge. I wasn't straight edge.
I was about to say you've been.
No.
You're, of all the people, I'm like, I would go to you for advice. Like, what should I be drinking?
You should go to me for advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what's up.
No, it's still rare, but yeah, straight edge being zero intoxication. So there's no other form of yourself than the sober self. So if you're constantly filling it with things that are going to alter your state of mind, that's not your true self. And a lot of people see that as a weakness. And so if you struggle with substance abuse, straight edge can be a great lifestyle to claim. It gives you a culture, you get a place to belong within it. You don't have to feel weird about it. And so that's where the straight edge culture came from.
If you see anyone tattoos with an X on their top of their hand, or X is like a symbol for straight edge, right?
Yep.
That's the thing?
Yeah, so if you go to a club and you have an X on your hand, like the bouncer, you'd be underage, so you can't buy a drink at the bar. So if you're in the straight edge culture, you're like, I'm not going to drink anyway, so I'm going to get X's tattooed on my hands so that I can never buy alcohol. And it's like, but that's okay because I don't drink anyways. Then you hear of these dudes who break edge and they still have the X's and they're like, oh, dude, it's a tattoo.
Turn it into a hashtag or something.
Yeah.
Or like a cool, I don't even know, like a
Tic tac toe. I got a board. I got a portable board.
I lost.
Yeah. Rub it off.
You lost. It's like, wait.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sorry. So I was asking. So like when you were tweeting out, like what were some of the things that you were tweeting out to some of these people?
Yeah. So being a human of faith, a lot of it would be sort of prayer driven, and like as a Christian, you can believe that the Holy Spirit can guide you, and a lot of it was like, yo, what should I say to this person? God. And it's amazing what words can come to you, whether you believe that to be instinctually or believe that to be from God. But you can respond back to like, yo, tell me, just something like, yo, tell me about it, or like, you know what, I think you should exist, and here's like a value point. You can start on value. You can start on like a relationship. You can even creep their profile and see if they've just had a breakup or something go on, and you're like, oh, your grandma just died, like, I'm sorry about that, something like that. So every case is different, but a lot of it would start with like, yo, I think you should stay, and we can work through this like right now and together. It'd be a lot of that. And like in the early days of #hope, that still existed, this like tweeting of people and connecting, and a lot of it, like the early stuff, was just me creating content online to put out there to start conversation so that I could talk to more people. And I probably spent like 2.5 years just on like an iPhone 4 talking to kids about them wanting to die. And they're like, please don't tell my youth pastor, or please don't tell my parents, but I'll open up to you. And this, and like, so after this like thing started, I was able to just start speaking at youth groups, because it was just before the like anti-suicide trend or the mental health stigma trend hit pop culture. And a lot of the youth workers were seeing it and they didn't know what to do, and I had created something in their circle that they could grab onto. So like, yo, come, how much money do you want? I'm like, I don't know, $50. Like, come. I would tell them a story. I would tell them about my own sadness and why I'd be still here. If it was in a church, I'd bring the gospel into that. If it wasn't, and you couldn't bring in the gospel, if I was at high school or something, you know, we just talk about value and inherent value of just being a human. But a lot of that was, now I'm gathering an audience and a following, doing that sort of thing and speaking in front of young people. And a lot of the kids don't feel safe going to their youth pastor, because their youth pastor would know their parent or something, and that could get out. And next thing you know, a parent's going to be like, you want to die? Like, how dare you? Yeah. So these kids felt this safety to reach out to some guy. And I was like, oh, I guess that's what I'm here for. And literally just staying up all night talking to these kids. Like I'm 28 now. I probably started this when I was 22, and my hair's turning gray from it because I'm just stressed out all the time. At least in the early, like full send in the early days. But I felt like, oh, this is like, I finally feel like I have a purpose and stuff, which isn't the best to believe in, that your purpose is found in other people. But
so it was a coping method for you too, then, eh?
Ooh, nice. Yeah, it was. It's like I was in such a confused state myself that, like, I was so looking for answers that I was like, everyone come with me. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Oh, you're looking for answers too? Let's go. And I was like, no stone unturned. Let's look at them all. Whether God is real, God isn't real. You know, we are just evolved species, and we're lucky to even be here. Now, imagine that the odds are in our favor so much that we're on a podcast right now, right? I don't know. Take that for whatever you want, but whether God intended that or whether the universe brought you here, it's still amazing. And a lot of, like, even just that concept alone means I think you should see out your entire life. You should watch it unfold in front of you. For as hard as it is, and as sad as you are right now, we should go on to tomorrow and see what that does, because look where we are now, right? Who knows what tomorrow's brings.
So you started this during the when you were just finishing at Heritage. So when you were there, did they have anything running, like, program wise, that they wanted you to, like, maybe start when you were there, like
Never.
People that really, for student wise and that?
No, that's not their jam.
I think now, like, I've been hit up a few times to come speak, but at the time it was like, what are you talking about? Like, everyone's got Jesus.
Oh, seriously?
It's not that deep. That's
is it something that it was a touchy subject?
Well, here's
for them
the thing.
too?
Here's the thing. If you've never had depression or anxiety before, I feel like you should not talk about it. You don't have a perspective. I shouldn't talk about depression. I've never had it. I've had anxiety. Have anxiety. I talk about it. I work with a young man who has depression, and it's probably one of the hardest things. I can work with someone on the autism spectrum, and I understand it because I studied it and I work with it. But I have a young man that I work with who has depression. When I first started this conversation with him, I didn't know what to do. Had no idea, and I feel like it's not that it's not my job, but I feel like I don't have the I don't have the responsibility or the right to, because I've never dealt with it. So a lot of these, I'm not gonna pinhole it on them, but unfortunately, like Bible colleges and stuff, it's like having a rough day. Well, when's the last time you prayed?
Right.
So
Yeah.
okay,
Have you
well,
given
thanks
it-
for throwing me outside. Like, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Can we talk about it? Well, you should talk to God about it. And
Well,
we should.
We should,
Right? That's scriptural based.
but it's
It
a
seems
little
very
But
hands
we're
off.
here together,
Yeah, yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
can we talk about it too?
It seems
Yeah.
very, very hands off. 100%.
Not that happens all the time. if you have a very knowledgeable person like who has dealt with it,
Right.
or a pastor who's like a very deep like guy who's dealt with some heavy, like he's been through the mud, like a lot of. Okay, I'm not gonna say a lot of. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
It's so difficult because there's a lot of great guys out there. A lot of people
Absolutely.
have really good opinions on
Absolutely.
things, but if you've never dealt with some garbage, like if you've never worked with like a homeless guy on the side of the road as he's shooting up heroin, and you're talking to him about how his life's a trash, and you've sat there and cried with him and hugged him, like if you're just straight out of your home because you've been homeschooled and you go to Bible college and you just live in this bubble, and then you get your degree and then you work at a church and then you start like and then you get ordained. Not to say that happens, but it could happen. And you don't really deal with anything real. You should not have an opinion on something that's gonna like people gonna kill themselves or like they can't get out of their house because the outside world is just too much for them to
Right.
exist in.
But
I don't-
I can't speak I can't speak into the culture of the homeschooled person who got ordained, right? Because I don't understand that culture. So I'm saying like I'm respecting
Yeah,
them in return for sure. But
it's for mutual respect.
so
Yeah.
there's kind of two parts to this. Back in the day, let's say by the end of 2012, it was becoming household that we talk about mental health. Bell Let's Talk starts the year after,
Yeah.
and now we all know about it. So before, it was like, oh, well, think positively, because we just had no idea what to do. I had no idea what to do, jumping into the #Open thing in the early days. Nowadays, everyone has an opinion on what mental health is, what you should do about it. You see like a lot of, oh, I'm here for you. Oh, like you just reach out.
Or
Like, what does
cheer
reach
up.
out mean? Yeah, like reach out, man. Oh, speak up. So now you're like, you almost have this gun to someone's head.
yeah,
and
hurry
say,
up,
like-
let's go
like,
talk about
speak
it.
about it,
Yeah,
right? But the person holding the gun doesn't know what's going on. So now people don't want to talk anymore at all because it's like, oh, now it's a publicized thing. My pain will be an example on social media. And some people can take that and brand and start blogs and talk about it and stuff. But you see a lot of these kids are like, why would I talk to anyone about my pain? Because then you'll be like, oh, you're like Bell Let's Talk.
Oh, yeah. That
I
happens
hashtag
once a
for
year.
you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so now we got this whole new stigma where we've broken, yes, we can talk about it now. Yes, you can be sad. Yes, you can think about killing yourself and still be a proper human. So that stigma is being broken.
That's how they're dealing with it, though.
And now it's a new stigma of like,
Yeah.
of
Oh, but
this-
we have that day. Don't you remember that day? Like
Right.
that's like, and that's Ernie's point. That's where I get a little bit nervous. Is like, well, now it could be just a thing. Not to say that it is a thing, but now it could just be a thing. Oh, I'm taking a mental illness day. Like, are you really? Like, if you really are, I'm so sorry for you. I've been there. Like, I know what it's like to like wake up and go, you know what? My bed is the safest place for me right now, and I'm not leaving it. I don't want to go and talk to people or exist in the world today. I'm not going out and I don't want to talk to anybody.
your job, if you don't want to live, like your job doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right. So to be like, yeah, I'm not coming in, I'm sick, is like or I'm having a mental health day is like a way better excuse than even having the flu. Because if you have the flu, you're like, okay, I'm sick, but my job still matters. But if you see the world as like, your job doesn't even matter, it's just so frustrating to have to go into work and you're like, F this so hard. Like, this sucks so bad.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even want to exist. But I was working a warehouse job
I know.
in Cambridge like a year ago, and it was like the worst thing I'd ever done. But I knew, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to practice perseverance.
You were
right?
trying so hard to keep it positive with like the coffee posts and like the joking around posts.
Yeah,
and
you
look
saw
at
that.
Look at the mold. And
Yeah.
I was like, buddy. I kept
Yeah.
like messaging you, hey, you should like. Not that I was trying to push you out of it. I kept sending you like, hey, Monograms is looking for a barista.
Yeah.
Or like,
You're sending me jobs.
I was
Yeah.
like, I want to help you out. Like, I care about
Yeah.
you. We don't know each other that well, but I definitely care about what you're doing and who you are. But it was like you were just struggling, and you're like,
Right.
You're like, I want to quit this job, and I'm like, oh god.
So that's like a practice of almost maturity within, I'll boast myself, of maturity within sadness or darkness or something is, yes, I will acknowledge that like this absolutely sucks, but I will practice focusing on goals. So my goal was, I need a new car. And if I work this many hours, I was working in a warehouse during the day, and I would go work in the back of a Boston Pizza at night, and I would rock like 13-hour days, sleep for a few hours, get back up and do it again, because I knew there was a number that I was trying to get to. Turns out, for some reason, I kept falling short. Like, I couldn't get to this number. Something else would come up. I owed more expenses or whatever. And it wasn't until I opened it up to the community and say, like, would you guys support me? They're like, absolutely. Next thing you know, we're like fundraising thousands of dollars towards this. So that's a big lesson in itself for sure.
I think so. I had such a hard time talking about depression because I have never dealt with it. For me, I feel like there's such a disconnect with community, which is maybe one of the reasons why people have such a hard time with life. There's such a disconnect with our communities, what it used to be like. So I did a little bit of research a year ago about depression when I first was initiated into with the young man I take care of. I'm like, I'm over my head initially. I'm like, I want to research things. Like, why is depression such a thing now and it wasn't before?
Right.
It was before.
Oh, yeah.
It was before.
Just we're talking about it.
We're talking about it. And, like, what was it like before? How did people deal with it before? Well, people talked to their neighbors and picked up the phone and called each other on the phone.
Right.
We had more actual conversations, nothing specific, but we had more community. And, like, even going back to, like, tribes, their communities were so sought after that when people were in the country and then they saw like these tribes, they would leave their societies and cities and stuff and move in with the tribes because it was such a peace and there was such a normality and there was such camaraderie that it was so norm. We don't have that today. People don't talk to their neighbors.
Right.
People want to text you instead of just call you. Or when they're like, people joke like when someone like there's like a meme when someone calls you on the phone actually instead of just texting you, like they just hang up. Like there's such a disconnect. Not to say that that's like a trend or that maybe that's the reason why, but we're fighting an uphill battle and we have so much pressure on our shoulders these days just in society. We need to be more connected. Like, that's not an answer. That's not a solution. I'm just saying, I just see that as a person who's trying to work through it with someone else. I'm trying to walk with this young man and help him. I'm trying to figure out what's the trend here. What can I work with? What can I help him focus on? Like, what's the positivity in it? Like, it's so heavy. It's such a heavy thing.
Yeah.
And so that's why when I see what you do, I admire it. I'm like,
thanks, man.
The guy's taking it on. He's taking on something, and we need to support him, and we need to have his back because you're taking on a lot. And it's not simple.
Right.
It's very complex.
It's not simple in the fact that every case is its own extreme level. So you can have a case of like, my grandmother died and now I'm sad. Or you can have like some crazy post-traumatic stress happening. And here you are just walking in being like, oh, how's it going?
Oh, cheer up.
Oh, yeah, speak up. Or something like that. So what we should really be teaching is like, how do we discern where this person is on the scale? Right, and that comes through conversation. But going back to your community situation is we're connected and we can bash social media all we want, but we have lost community. We're living in bigger cities than we ever have been, more connected on social media. We're more disconnected, right? We're more isolating of ourselves and whatever, and we're seeing breakthroughs happen when people are purposefully running toward community. Or putting themselves into a state of whatever. So that's my theory of like, you're seeing this people go into community. So you're joining a sports team, you're joining a Volvo club, you're joining a bike club or whatever. Sure, a beard club. Yeah. And all of a sudden you feel like you belong. Whoa, breakthrough. But that used to happen, like you said, everyone would like go and hang out in their neighborhood. And now all we see is like neighbors hate each other. Right? I don't know anyone who likes their neighbor.
I love my neighbors. I purposefully make it intentional to get along with my neighbors. I get along with them naturally. Fortunately, I'm very blessed to have cool neighbors. Nice. But I've said that to my wife. My wife's not as an out. She's very introverted. I'm one of those extroverts who will go out and do stuff all day, but then needs to come home and watch Netflix for 4 hours. I'm that kind of a person. So when I said to my wife, like, let's make it intentional to get along with our neighbors and talk to them to the best of our ability. Let's make sure, like, I'm like I have one of those connected lawns, so nice. I mow both sides. I'm not doing my half. Like I'm not like that's not me. Or like my neighbor, he's like an older guy, and if it snows a ton, I can do his like. No, I'm not trying to shout my own horn. Anyway, I'm not gonna say what I do, but I made it intentional to get along with my neighbors because that's like key. Yeah, that's got to be key. If you don't like your neighbors, you're gonna want to move in 4 years.
Well, imagine you came back to your community, right? This street you live on. and you hated it, or you're like, oh, I resent those people, right? Now you don't live in a safe place. You don't live in a good place.
Yep.
And and then that goes into who you are, and you're like, oh, I can't live here. So now take that and say, imagine the earth is like that for you. You're like, oh, I hate living here, right? I'm reminded, I'm triggered by things that make me hurt, and I have to pay taxes. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'll never be able to buy a house. All this stuff. You start demonizing the world, and then you go, I don't want to live here anymore. And so
that's your answer.
You can
like,
lead down.
This is my out.
Right.
That's my out. I don't have to deal with this anymore.
Yeah, and then we fantasize about not existing, and we think it's like sleep, right? But really, it's a sacrificing of all that's good within you, or what's to come, and all that sort of thing. So you can fantasize about it and say, if I don't exist, then therefore I don't have to pay taxes. But you got to start scaling those things and go, does paying taxes really equal the value of who I am as a person? Right. And when you start doing that, you start drawing that out, you yourself are so much more valuable. Your existence, your life is so much more valuable than just having to pay taxes or worry about paying rent every month. Now we can get into disorders and traumatics and all of that stuff. And that's a different conversation. And in that we need to express that out with help. We need to get help in those situations. It's that. And again, like everyone says, that is not wrong to do. And that's not wrong to need at the same time. So anyways, Yeah, I did this hashtag hope thing, and and honestly, like, I think, like, it sucks, and I wanna take credit for a lot of stuff, but a lot of it is just right place, right time, naiveness of like, oh, I can do that, I'll do that for free, I'll sacrifice all my money to try to help people. It was good intentions on like a scale of 10,000, and now I'm kind of sitting here going like, I'm so tired. I'm so worn out.
You're doing it alone, aren't you?
I have been, this whole time with a select group of volunteers joining me along the way for a lot of things. But it's like, have you listened to a lot of like successful people stories?
Yes.
And they all talk about, I run Tesla now and whatever. Elon's not a good example, but a lot of people have these big companies or something, some sort of success. And they tell these stories of like, I did it, and then they kind of breeze through these moments of like, and then I lost everything and restarted, and then I lost everything and restarted, but now I'm here. And they really never talk about this restarting era for themselves. And I feel like that's the moment I'm in right now, at least I hope, is like, I actually am out of money, I have lots of debt, I have all these ideas, I've had all this experience, I know it could work. So do I do it? Do I go back at it or not? So I feel like I'm in like a low blip in that moment.
And I think as a company or as someone who works hard, it sees someone doing that. I think for you, not to give you an example, like I have all the answers. I think you need, like you said with the car, you took it on yourself. I'm going to work 15 hours a day. I'm not going to sleep weird. I'm going to just like struggle. As soon as you put it out into the community, people had your back.
Yeah.
So what does that look like on a larger scale for your entirety of your company or your movement? I could say, what would that look like? How would you do that? I feel like your Instagram, it's a start, and like you got a huge following. People follow you and respect you. When you're talking, like, you go to shows, right? Like you tour with bands. Like, that's a way to kind of get yourself out there. So what's the next step for you right now? So like that's what you're aiming for, is like you're regrouping. Sure. Is that what you're doing? Like, just actually,
do you want to let me tell you what I've been doing.
I want to know.
Like more core, like what was working or whatever. But so I start this thing, and now you know that I'm sad now, but burnt out now, I guess. And anyway, so I had all these connections in the local music scene. If I say that, do you know what that means?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so there was this genre called metalcore that was, when I was starting this, was just dying, basically, in like 2013. I think it's coming back now, but...
Let's hope.
Yeah. So like bands like August Burns Red were like big, As I Lay Dying, Devil Wears Prada, and all that. So in every little city, pretty much in North America, there is a local music scene trying to replicate the songs of these bands. They're not playing them like covers. They're like writing their own, heavily influenced by these bands. I was in a band like that. We were very Under Oath-y and Chariot mixed together. And initially I was like, I'm going to do this hope thing through music. I was in school for music, and it was gonna become like that's where the avenue was gonna be. I ended up not getting kicked out, but it was like, hey, it's best if you leave this band, and found myself like, oh, okay, I guess I'm going solo. And in that moment, I doubled down on like creating this hashtag Hope movement into a brand.
Yep.
Added an R. And so with that, I had these connections in the music scene, and knowing that most of these kids in these bands are playing in bars and they're talking about concepts and ideas that are already dark. What if I like went into those environments and started to speak an intentional word of hope into those? So I would like hit up friends who were promoters and just say, hey, can I like set up a table with my t-shirts at your show? They're like, yeah, man, heck yeah. So I'd come, and one time one guy was like, do you want to speak at it? I was like, speak? Yes. Like, I'll speak for sure, right?
Yeah. And
I do this stupid thing where I like say yes to stuff, but I actually have no idea like what's going on. So I said yes, and I'm like, what the heck am I gonna say? And then he's like, oh, actually, do you want to come on tour with this band? Like, you can come on the whole run of 10 shows, up and down on, like, they call it the 401 tour. So you do like Windsor to Montreal. And I was like, yes, I'll do it. So I'm driving to the first show, which was in Brockville. Like 10 people showed up, and I like on the way there, I was like, I still don't know what I'm going to say. I know I have a spot. And for some reason, I'm like, well, just be honest, just be super honest. So just before the headlining band who I was on tour with, named Terra Firma, which I guess translates to solid ground or something like that. They're like, okay, you go up and speak. So I walk up, I videotaped it. I'm so proud of myself for doing that. I walk up and I'm like, my name is Nick and I want to kill myself. And I just like looked at the room for a bit and eventually leading them in some, what I thought at the time was poetry, to this place of like, here's why I want to die and here's why I choose not to. And you can choose not to as well. And if anyone needs to talk about a reason to keep living, I'll be standing at that merch table back there willing to talk to you. And then I would just get off the stage after like 2 minutes of talking. And I was like, wow, that went really well.
Yeah,
Jesus, I'm inspired already.
Yeah, that was well said.
So I was like, oh, sweet. So I had 10 shows to work that out. Next thing you know, like kids are showing up. We're in Oshawa. We're in this packed bar. I'm up there like, my name is Nick and I want to kill myself. And I'm just getting heckled.
What?
They're like, yeah, like do it. And like people don't get it. It was so weird. People are like, yeah, you get drunk dudes at the bar. They're like, yeah, buddy, well, me too. By the end of it, the room's quiet. And they're like, oh, he wasn't kidding.
Yeah, this is serious.
There was this culture of joking about wanting to die. Like, oh, just end it. Oh, just kill me now. I have to go to work. You know, something like that. So, which I'm an advocate for trying to break. Like, every time you joke about wanting to die, you're spitting in the face of somebody who actually does want to die. You know, and so it's because I'm one of those people who want to die, and I would just be extremely insulted whenever like really, you're gonna just say that? Like, frick. So yeah, I was on this tour with this band and did this run, and I was like, wow, that really works. And being young, for some reason, I had enough money to live. I had a really good rent situation in the early days of Hashtag Hope that I just started reaching out to other bands and being like, can I go on tour with you? Oh, you're doing shows? Can I speak at your show? Send them a video of what I was doing. And more bands were like, absolutely. So I found myself like just on the road, either speaking at a youth group, doing a formal talk about like life, or in a bar or at some sort of concert venue screaming about wanting to kill myself, and having these crazy conversations with kids who for some reason came to this show because they felt a sense of community. And now here I was basically opening up to be a counselor to them, to talk to them about staying alive and to keep living. And I did that for like 2.5, 3 years straight. And that's where I took that car and just like drove it all around, living in it, and just every night just unloading it out, building a merch table. Yeah, selling shirts to people who wanted them and having a bit of a brand that way, but really it was just a front so I could have a conversation with somebody who wanted to die. And it was like, I'm going into this room and I'm looking at everyone and I'm going to be like, who here wants to kill themselves? And how do I get to talk to them? Right? And if that meant like, man, that kid's like sticking out to me for some reason, or if I felt like the Holy Spirit was leading me towards something, I'll just walk up and be like, hey man, are you all right? And now here's this random dude you don't know, just walking up and being like, are you okay? And a few times people have just been, they just start crying. Yeah. And it's over.
It's pretty real what you're saying. And like people approaching you, like there's no, we swear on the show, there's no bullshit with what you're saying. Like there's a lot of realism, and people can feel that and see that in like mannerisms and the way you act. Like there's no, this is not just for like Bell, how you feeling day or whatever.
Yeah.
It is. Like it's not, man. Like
that publicity stunt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
not.
and I was gonna say, and I think that's also why when you were doing the bar scene, that once they realized that you weren't full of shit, like you were there to help,
Right.
and your cause was literally the cause that you were speaking about.
Yeah.
They shut their mouth and
Yeah.
they
People
started
shut
taking
up
you
when it's
seriously,
real.
right?
Yeah.
Because at first it's just kind of like, oh yeah, look who's up there, look who grabbed the mic, kind of thing, right?
Well,
But and that takes a lot.
well, there's a culture with those shows. There's a brotherhood almost when you go to those kinds of shows, and there's like these known rules when you go there, and they're there to have a good time, but it's real. So initially they're like, yeah, they're excited because there's actually like a cool psychological effect with like heavy metal music. It actually is all positive. Like actually people think like, oh, why do you listen to that garbage? It's like actually like if you scientifically proven that it actually sets off like positive like serotonin levels and like you're it's positive. So
Interesting.
like, did you know that?
Yeah. No, I know.
Yeah.
I've seen like clickbait link articles be like, you're a better person if you listen to metal.
Yeah, like if you listen to hardcore music, like obviously there's like death or more like hardcore, like speaking on different things. But if you're listening to like a positive more band, I'm just gonna say the Cancer Bats, for instance, like one of my favorite
Name
bands.
drop.
Like those guys, like they're so positive and rad,
Yeah.
and they talk about some hardcore things. But like everybody hugs. Like
Yeah.
I remember going to a Alexis on Fire. No, I can't remember what the other band was, but at the end of the show, everyone in the crowd was hugging each other, sweaty and
Yeah.
gross and bloody from the pit. And, like there's a positive energy and like
It's like you went to battle, to
yeah.
war together,
yeah.
right? You were
and
in
like,
the trenches.
Everybody's hugging and high fiving, and if you've never experienced it, like just like don't look at it from like whoa, look how crazy this is.
Right.
Look at the smiles on their face.
Right.
Like you know exactly. So like when you're talking into that atmosphere, initially it's going to be hard because the people are like, yeah, I'm here to have a good time, and then it's like, I want to kill myself, and they're like,
Right.
ha.
Oh, he must be kidding, because you wouldn't just say that.
Okay, he's not kidding.
Yeah. And then he keeps
Takes a
saying,
couple seconds.
Yeah.
But there's a realism there.
Yeah. Yeah. If anyone's interested, there's I did a recent cross Canada tour with a band called Kennedy. Really good friends. If you're into heavy music, you should check out Kennedy. They're from Montreal. They've been doing it forever. They're unsigned. They're like true hardcore. Like, no, we're not going to sell out. And so there's a video that a kid who goes to shows just brings his GoPro, puts his GoPro on the side and films the shows and then puts the sets up on YouTube. So if you search Kennedy, #Hope Kennedy Doors Pub Hamilton, you'll find the very last talk I did on a cross Canada tour. And it was like, lack of a better term, balls to the wall, all out for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like just leaving it out there, and I got into just like, you're not responsible for the actions of another human, going down to like, if you've been assaulted, you're allowed to break free, and just getting real deep. And a lot of times you kind of navigate those waters because some of those are trigger points for a lot of people and can bring back traumatic experiences, and they'll have to go
shut down.
right. And so if I'm going to do that, sometimes I'll pray before and be like, can I say these words in this room? And I feel yes, and let's go for it. So that one is like really heavy, and then there's others you can find them if you're looking that aren't as heavy as that. So you can actually see this on the internet if you want.
People will want to. Yeah.
Yeah. So that it's weird because the brand of #Hope looks very clean and almost like gentle, and then when you get into like the meat and potatoes of what I've been doing, it's like literally on the front lines of these war zones at these heavy concerts, and they haven't all been super heavy concerts. I did an event called Rock the Mill, which is a Cambridge City Run event.
Yeah.
And they're like, "You want to MC it?" I'm like, "All right." So I told a funny story, and at this concert, and yeah, it goes well. You can do like family festivals and stuff. So I've tried to become very modular, but my heart is really in those heavy shows and in those bars.
They're
like,
real.
Yeah, I would love to get back to it, but I'm battling right now. I'm battling a sense of irrelevancy. Like I feel old. I feel like they're all kids that are doing that. So I don't know. Maybe my time is done, or if I've passed the torch or something, start facilitating.
Or I think that's the key there is like facilitating, bringing on someone who can speak. Not to say you can't speak to the youth. I think lots of people can. Like hell, Billy Graham was preaching into his like 80s and 90s and was still relevant.
The irony of you saying hell before Billy Graham.
I threw that in there just for you. I think I don't think you're irrelevant. I think it is relevant, and I think anyone can speak into it. It's for sure. I kind of, as I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, how can I free up my schedule more to help you out? That's my initial thought. Is absolutely. I'm way too busy. I'm way too busy of a person. Like I actually, when you posted that thing on your personal Instagram, the green circle that I saw, you said, "Is there any youth social workers out there?" I instantly grabbed onto that and was sending it to people that I know that are kind of in that sphere, work within that sphere, and like, help this guy out. Yeah. Did you get any feedback?
So people were hitting me up. I'm like, I don't know this person, and I would look at them, and it's like they either follow you or the podcast.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, it must have come through there.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
that was very effective.
Yeah.
More effective so than my own.
I was
shout
hoping
out.
it would be.
And with that, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, one or two people. I'm like, what do I do with all this help now? I don't know.
Good.
Right.
I'm so happy to hear that. Man. But for real, I'll ask you later how I can help you. We'll talk about that later. But for real, so you did that last hardcore show, and now you're kind of in these like family venues working. Are you working anywhere now, like as a job, like
no.
Your pop or something? Or
I worked so hard that I did the double job grind, quit that, went and worked with my dad, then came back to Cambridge and basically bought time. So me being able to come here, I've purchased this time from that pain and agony from before working a couple jobs. So I really wanted to meditate and just like rest and like, okay, do I want to keep going? And if not, I'm allowed to not. Like, I'm allowed to try to someday have a salary.
Yeah.
But if yes, then let's be intentional. Let's set up a mission statement. Let's set up some core pillars of like going forward, and let's try to make this a thing that I can live off of. Like, I just want 30 grand a year, right? 30 grand. That sounds so much money.
No, it's not.
But dude, I'll take it. If I can make 15, like in the years of touring, I was making like 8,000 a year, and how did I live? I know how you lived. Blessed with a place to live. Yeah. But man, I lived off of, I never thought I'd be a person to say this, but I lived off of a thing called Patreon. You know this?
Yep.
Yeah, I had like 12 people supporting me like $200 a month. So
actually, I think our buddy Dan is doing that right now, is he not?
For his, I don't know what Dan's up to right now.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah,
I know I sent you some gas money once. I remember that.
Yeah. Yep. For sure.
Yeah, I was like, he needs some gas, and Jocelyn's like, yeah, send him like $30 for gas.
Okay, so I that video I told everyone to look up is like the last of the hardcore tour with this band called Kennedy. I was scheduled to go out with another band called Goldfinch like 3 weeks after this. So, and they were heading to the East Coast.
Oh, sorry guys.
Out to the Maritimes.
My turn.
And so I'm like, yeah, I'll go. So I find myself out east, really tired, like no money. I'm living on a line of credit. When I'm out there, I'm sleeping in my car. My car is breaking down every like 5 hours. I'm getting pulled over for license plate covers in Quebec. Now I owe hundreds in fines. Just these weird little things. And then I make it to like the Halifax show just on time, and then I have a horrible talk. Like I forget it. I went up there cold, and I just like people left while I was talking. They're like, why is this guy being so weird? And I'm on the street of Halifax, sitting on the curb, like, what am I doing? The next day we were going up to Cape Breton. I just posted this YouTube video actually today. I drive up there. I get to the venue. They're like, first of all, it was in an off-track betting pool hall, bar, video lottery venue that was full of all old Maritime dudes, like just gambling away their money. And then the show started, and all these kids showed up. It was like, whoa, I guess there's nothing going on, and these kids wanted to come here. So place fills up, and the promoter's like, you have 45 seconds to talk. I'm like, no, I just need 2 minutes. Just give me 2 minutes. He's like, no, 45 seconds, and I'll cut your mic if you go over. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I put an extra band on the bill, and they get to play. So I was like, no, dude, like, I was like, okay, fine. So I went up, unscripted, totally from the heart, and gave like the best talk I've ever done. Didn't record it. Just felt like I just released all this, like, you don't need to kill yourself energy. And I found myself in the car. I went to a Walmart parking lot. It was like 5 a.m, making my little bed. And I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. I actually had a crazy experience where this girl approached me after that show and was like, my stepfather is sexually assaulting me, and I don't know what to do. And she actually gave me a fake name, I found out later. And I was like, I will go to the police station with you right now. We will fight this. We'll put this guy in jail. And she's like, no, actually, like, I just wanted to say that to you. And she was like adamantly like left. She like felt embarrassed and like she was gone. And I was like, I did all of this and I couldn't help her. Right. And a lot of my friend Zach sat me down. He's like, you helped that person, and you should.
I was just about to say that to you.
But at the time, I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm doing this alone. I don't have support. I could get sued by someone if a kid was talking to me and they ended up taking their life, and a parent was pissed, and they found some conversations or something, and it's like, well, he got ideas from you, and you should go to prison or something like that. There's a lot of weird law stuff, and I had no insurance backing or whatever, and I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I was just burnt.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have like the freedom of speech or anything like that.
I don't know. Some people in the corporate world have been like, you shouldn't be doing this. Definitely.
You could say the same thing about this podcast, though. Like, if somebody took advice from us about wrestling bears, and they said they heard on the PM&A podcast that you're supposed to jump on their back, and Jeremy said that's what you're supposed to do. So
I never said that. I don't know where you got that from. Yeah, whoa bear.
Play the fifth.
Whoa bear.
You know what really would suck? Planting trees. Sounds like it would suck.
Yeah, you gotta meet Chris though. He's a kind of a weird guy.
Yeah, he's like, I just wanted to do it so I could show people I could do it. I'm like, no, go
home. I think you should talk to him. He's a very cool guy.
Imagine planting your stupid tree and a horse eats it though.
Yeah,
just be like, Seabiscuit.
Oh, that's him seeing like the biggest wolf ever.
Oh, he's such a rad guy. I love that guy.
Yeah.
He actually invited me to a barbecue, but I can't go. Sorry, Chris. I told you why I couldn't go.
Is that a barbecue or what's he grilling?
Oh, he's barbecuing. Yeah, it's like a party. Well, actually, he actually messed. Anyway.
What's going on the barbecue?
I don't know.
Oh.
Check out that podcast. It's 18.
I can't remember. No, it wasn't 18.
17.
I can't remember.
His name's Chris.
I have a hard time remembering. I'm like, oh crap, we're at number 20. Like,
Jen was 18. I know that.
Yeah, the lady who we had Jen on from Modern Addictions Tattoo. Yeah. That was a cool podcast. That was our first female podcast.
They've all been pretty cool.
No, I love it.
But yeah, so right now you're looking for a gig, right, to keep yourself like going steady.
Are you figuring out what you want to like? You got this bot time right now, and you're just kind of
coming to the end of that time for sure. But talking actually to a business partner. Hopefully, I can listen to this podcast in like 5 years and be like, "That was the best move I ever made."
I hope, man.
Yeah,
I hope the best for you.
Well, this hopefully isn't the last time we get you on either.
No,
thanks.
Yeah. Absolutely,
thanks.
Absolutely.
Just down the road. I thought you lived in a different end of town.
Where you hanging your hat?
And I'm like towards Guelph from here, like just over there. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, like, and I drive by a lot of this area a lot because I go and hang out with a bunch of kids at the skate park all the time.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
I always see that.
I have a bit of a crew, and I try to I bring them pizza and stuff. That's sick. I'll just be like, yo, we're all gonna eat pizza.
Could you
today.
still skate?
And can I still skate?
Yeah.
I'm like sort of just learning now. I longboarded for a long, so I have a lot of balance. But
I remember you went down that hill and you crashed, and you told me people about it. I think you told me about it a while ago. But
really?
Remember you?
Yeah.
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 It really hurt, right?
Yeah. If there's one thing that sucks, it's hitting your head on pavement on the road, like at a really high rate of speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a lot of brain damage. Had a few concussions.
Concussed.
Probably from that. But so
yeah.
Yeah. So I bail off that tour at the end of. Out on the East Coast, I tell the band, like, they're great dudes, Goldfinch, rest in peace to that band. They kept going, touring, and I just, like, literally lived in my car on the East Coast, rented a surfboard, didn't know how to surf, and slept in it for, like, 10 days. Then, get this, somebody calls me, and they're like, Nick, I just, for some reason, you just look really tired. I saw, there was, like, a photo of me, like, sitting on a very small chair next to my car cooking rice. And they're like, I saw that photo, and I don't know, but I just think I should send you to Iceland. And I'm like, oh, wow, that's sick. I'm like, but I can't afford a ticket or whatever. They're like, no, you big dumb idiot. I'm going to pay for everything. And this person just came out of nowhere. They don't want to be named. And they're like, go to Iceland. Go have this vacation for free. I'm like, oh, no way. So next thing you know, I'm in Iceland. And just on this, like, free vacation for weird timing. So that was fun. Anyways, I come back from that and took a year off. Didn't do anything for a year. Called it a sabbatical. Got a job. Then I was like, okay, well, I need a new car if I want to go back. Did that, and now I'm here. So I'm right at the cusp of either flipping the switch, going back to it, or calling it and basically going back to school, probably for business or something. And
why don't you go to school for counseling?
Yeah, I could do that. You have to do a lot of counseling in school to be accredited, but
do you?
it's kind of weird, right? Because now, if I go to school, then I'm like 4 years from now, I'm out, and what's that time worth? What if I just facilitated for other counselors? In a brand sense.
Wish I knew more about it. I can give you some.
Like I can do 2-year certificates, so I could get a counseling certificate. I could go 4-year and do like a therapist route, but then you have to go to doctorate route or like do a big thesis and all that sort of stuff. But
I don't think that's your jam.
No.
The thesis route.
I know my jam is crisis, the word crisis. If there's someone in crisis, like for some reason, I can do it. And I've thought about being like a hotline person. Yeah. Someone calls in and they're like, I'm going to kill myself. What should I do? I'm like, well, we're going to talk about it. That's what we're going to do. I could do that. But I think even looking at all this stuff and as I weigh the options of like what I should do with my life, the only thing that makes sense is literally to keep going with #Hope. Because it sits in a place, in a track. It's not going to look like it was like the stuff I was doing, but it sits in a place that no one's really filling, or there's a few other people filling, but there's a need, and it fills and fulfills a need for sure. So I think I'm going back.
So I was looking on your Instagram, and there's not a whole lot of maybe I just didn't see them, but videos of you sitting like in the situation where you are right now, kind of putting out your message, not the whole thing, your whole speech, but your message that you're trying to put out, right? And that just call me, or just text me, just get a hold of me. Do you think maybe that might help bring out your brand a little bit?
You were saying that your brand is so clean. Is that intentional? Like on your Instagram, like there's like the beautiful photos and the photography you're great at, and like the photos of the people wearing your gear, your merch. But is that intentional? Like
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everything I'm doing is intentional. So there's a different market. So the subculture of heavy music and that sort of thing doesn't dominate the Instagram market. So in the terms of marketing, you would market into that if you're going to do a tour or something, but the broad spectrum of like this polished content is what moves on the Instagram platform. So let's polish up content that means something and put it out there. So that's the vision behind all the social media, and that itself is an outreach model. And really where it started is like, I'm going to do this all on social media, and then I found myself speaking in bars. So I think even if I end up doing something else with my life, I could still run that. But #Hope isn't a 24-hour hotline. It's not monitored 24 hours, which is unfortunate because I'll check in like 2 days later as I've been taking this break, and there'll be someone being like, oh, is anyone awake? Can I talk? Or something like that. And for my own self, I have to be okay with missing those conversations and then checking in later, being like, hey, is everything cool? Can I connect you with some resources? Where are you from? That sort of thing. And that's a big part of what the touring aspect was too, is I would come in, create conversation in a room through some sort of, not really shock and awe, but this like jerk of like getting someone's attention who might be thinking about dying, and then saying, hey, did you know in your area, here's free counseling.
Yep. I was just about to say that, just so people do know that you could go to your general practitioner, doctor, your GP, and you can have a conversation, and they will put you towards publicly funded help, psychologists, counselors. It's free, and you can go there, and it's actually a resource out there. People don't know about that. With the work that I do, there's a stigma around what I am, that I'm a counselor or something. I keep telling people I'm not. I just work with people who have difficult lives, and I help them through it. But people approach me all the time, and like people message me like, hey man, so I live with my brother, and I hate his guts, and he hates me, and I hate my life, and sometimes I really just want to go to my dad's gun rack and put a gun in my mouth and blow my head off. I don't want to exist anymore. And I'm like, oh, buddy, I'm like, I hear what you're saying. I'm like, I'm going to validate what you're saying. Have you ever talked to anybody about it besides me, this conversation? He says, no, I got a lot of health issues. I'm like, so I put him towards his GP instantly. I'm like, there's an online resource for the Ontario government where they can go online and get in touch with a counselor. And I'm like, I got to find resources. So I have resources at my fingertips constantly, because I'm getting messages from people sometimes because they think I'm some sort of counselor, but I'm not. And there's like resources people can use, and I don't think they realize there is resources, but people, like, I think it's like they don't want to, maybe maybe they're okay. I don't know if this is a weird say. They're almost okay with sitting in their garbage.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And they don't want to make it real by going and talking to somebody about it because it's going to be really real. They'd rather just sit on it and not worry about it. Personally, I had to go through counseling. I was on a place of burnout for work and living situation. Not that I wasn't depressed. I was very anxious. I was at the point where I would go out for dinner and then immediately after eating I'd have to go throw it up because I'm like, I ate too much and I'd be sick, stomach. I didn't want to go to work. I called in sick a lot, and then I realized that I'm on burnout. I had to go talk to somebody, and I had to learn about healthy boundaries, which was key for me.
Boundaries and balance.
Yeah. Understanding that when you're having relationships with people, it's more of a gate situation than a wall. And then you can choose to open the gate, and then you can choose to close the gate.
Nice.
I went to counseling. That was not something I found out of a fortune cookie or anything, but the importance of talking to somebody made it worse initially. I'd always say to luckily I had a really cool team that I worked with at work, and they understood what I was going through, and I said my work pointed me towards counseling because they have that resource available to a staff. So I would say, I have a counseling appointment this afternoon. I'm probably not going to I'm not going to make it for my shift because I'm going to feel like absolute shit, and I'm going to sit in my car and cry for 3 hours after my counseling appointment because it's real. I'm making it real.
Oh yeah.
So that in itself is difficult, and I know people have a hard time making it real and talking about it. I said going to get the help because then it is real because you're talking to somebody about it instead of just sitting in your room fretting about it. Is that real? Is that a little bit of valid?
Dude, that's huge. Okay. Yeah, you should write an Instagram post. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking
about
the podcast.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Right. True.
Yeah.
What am I thinking?
Yeah.
I was getting an e-test on my old car, and I was battling sensors and whatever, and I'm stoked that the e-test is gone. Anyway, so I roll up and
thanks a lot, Government of Ontario, made us do that.
Man, I mean, we're seeing it now in the gas tax, but like I'd rather pay that than have to make sure my seatbelt sensor. No, that's a bad example. I don't know. That my gas cap sensor works.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bad example too. Anyways,
no.
So I'm going to get an e-test and roll in, hand the guy the keys, and on the back of my car I got a big #Hope logo sticker, and so he's like, yeah, your car passed, and he's like, before I give this to you, like, what's this sticker about? And I'm like, well, yeah, want to die, tried basically doing something about it and trying to help others through that journey. He's like, well, I'm a recovering meth addict.
Shit.
And been to all the programs many times, and I'm this many days clean. And he's like, you have no idea that I was looking for a sign of hope to keep going. And I'm like, whoa.
Oh, Jesus.
Earlier that day, a youth kid from the local youth center had like in like the water on the hood of my car, like, or the frost or something, had like written the word hope, and like as we're standing there, this word hope appears on the hood of the car or whatever. And I'm like, wow, like I don't know. I ended up giving him. I like took my sweater off and like gave it to him because I was like so stoked on his story. But he told me that he going through all this program and whatever, he wrote on everything in his life, mirror, drive, like the wheel of his car, work, computer, whatever, he wrote freedom exists, because he needed to understand that he's going to have to fight all these demons and all that. He was going through all this crap that made him hurt more, and he could have run and hid, but instead he was going to these counseling sessions, going to this group therapy, going through these programs with this idea and with this concept in his grasp saying that freedom exists, and he knew he could press forward. And so if you're gonna go to some programming, if you're gonna go to counseling, it's gonna suck.
Yeah,
it's gonna suck.
Oh yeah.
It's like if you've gone to the hospital and next thing you know they're sticking things in weird places. It kind of hurts, right? But it's for the concept of getting better, right? Well, we have to go check it out. We have to look. Oh, you're bleeding internally. We should cut you open. Like, well, don't cut me open. Well, dude, we have to get to it.
Yeah.
That exists in our emotions as well. Yeah. It's like we actually have to like hack through these walls that you have created, to defend yourself.
Yeah.
But really, you're bleeding in there somewhere. We have to go find it, and we can't just open you up and go, look. You actually have to express enough information for somebody to go, oh, your dad left when you were 7.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
now we can start. And you are at a point
Right
of
at
like
the
you're
bottom.
destroyed by this point,
You're at the bottom. Yeah.
right? You've talked about bullying and social media and the way you view yourself, but really you've just been digging this person. If they're trained, if it's the right counselor, and sometimes you have to do a couple counselors, because that relationship is like finding a new best friend in some way, a person you have to trust.
Yep.
You know, and you're allowed to leave counselors and go to a different person, but don't leave until you have a new person you're going to go to. Like, set up that conversation first, or that appointment first. But it's going to suck, but it's going to be so worth it.
Yep.
Because on the other side of that is freedom.
The long term. It's a long term game.
It's
a
long-term game.
Yeah. So, how do you feel now?
Like, just hanging out?
No, in general. Like, do you still feel every day the same?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
No, I'm an example. I hope I'm an example of perseverance. I am a struggler of darkness, and like every day, like this last few days for me have been pretty low, and I haven't really been believing in myself too hard, and I'm still that person. But I have learned along the way these ways of controlling, or not controlling, but understanding. Like I'm getting to this train of thought out of valid reasons, and I'm going to stop myself from going down this road, and I'm going to actually go outside, and we're going to start with just being outside. I'm not going to lock myself in my basement apartment
Vitamin D.
and listen to sad songs, because I know that that's going to keep going, and I'm going to feel even more validated in my sadness. And as in my experience, I learned that even though I feel validated in my sadness, it's still a lie, right? A lot of these dark moments are these lies that we're just submitting to, and we're starting to believe about ourselves. And we go, it would be better if I didn't exist. And so in our experience and in our growing, we learn to go, oh, that's a lie. I'm not going to do that. You can see that elsewhere in your diet. If all you eat is donuts, you'll be overloaded on sugar. And what will that lead you to? I don't know. Your body's different than mine, but I will get fat. And if I don't want to live in this place of obesity, and I want to live in a place where my body can digest healthy things, I have to put healthy things into my body. And that takes wisdom and maturity. And if you're like 7 or 13, you're still learning, right? And for these parents or these teachers or whatever, back in the stigma breaking days, where we're like, oh, just like, can you please just think positively? Like, what?
Yeah.
What? How do you don't even know what positive is at this point, right?
Yeah.
And as you grow in your pain, in your choices to keep living, and your choices to get help, you have learned about yourself. And you've learned the tactics of where, like, how to put yourself in a place that you truly want to be. And it all starts with awareness. You have to acknowledge to yourself that, like, I'm not okay, and I want to change that, because freedom exists.
Yeah.
In that sort of sense. So I want to be a model of that. I really want to be.
Do you ever
example.
speak into the, I'm not going to say the scientific factor, but the actual physicality, the word just left me. When you're looking at mental illness, sometimes you can look at it from a different point of view. Yes, there's triggers and from like post-traumatic, and but sometimes people, if they, like for instance, like if you like diet, for instance, we talk. What I do, I talk about diet a lot. I talk about mood, and I talk about gut health a lot.
The gut biome.
Yeah, the microbes and like all the things you can change with mood, with changing diet to a healthier diet, and focusing on that kind of like a scientific kind of view. Have you ever, in your own walk, personal walk, just thought, like, what am I putting in my body? How can it affect my mood? I know for me personally, it affects my mood. Absolutely. I'm a big guy. Ernie and I, we babble back and forth with diets and stuff. Ernie's pretty strict with his. For me, if I'm eating clean and I'm staying off of like sugars and carbohydrates and things like that, I'm actually affecting my mood. I'm not sure if that's a placebo effect, just because I'm like, hey, just like on this high. I see, this is me again talking into a situation I don't know about. I've never been depressed, but with the young man I work with, 3 things I talked to him about, and then I could say it helping. The present tense, sleep, super important. Staying in a regular schedule, making sure you're getting enough sleep, making sure that you're staying away from certain types of foods and actually having a healthy diet, and 3, just getting out, not sitting. Vitamin D, those B12 vitamins. Do you ever talk on that, do you ever think of that, like all the research you've done over the years with #hope, has that ever come up as a thing that like could?
Yeah.
It's not as like a band-aid, but I'm like it could help with the process.
Right. Lifestyle changes is the category that it fits
Yeah.
under. So you talked about diet to going outside to
Sleep.
putting yourself to sleep, right? That's not just one thing. That's a category.
Yeah.
And you have to explore all of that stuff.
Yeah, we call that our daily living index.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, if I wake up, I'm like, why am I getting out of bed? But I know, so we can see an example of this. Once I have a coffee, I'm gonna feel like I can start, like I can be Forbes top 100 by next year in that first 10 minutes of like a caffeine hit.
Yeah.
So I'm understanding and I'm acknowledging that my body's reacting to something. So that's an example of like it's truth that what you put in your body is change. Now to say that if you just eat red apples and whatever, then your mind will follow, it can't work like that.
No.
But it can help.
Yeah.
Right. It can give you the energy, the alertness to be aware of
Yeah.
yourself. Maybe after you have those breakthroughs, you go,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like I'm relying on coffee, or this coffee is triggering all of this anxiety within me because it's an agitator and it's giving me this energy that I don't have a place to put. Now I should be like, I should stop drinking coffee. That was part of
Switch
my
to
story.
decaf.
Yeah, I was working in the back of a Boston Pizza doing these crazy kitchen shifts, and I just like constantly shaking. And it was because I was tired and overloading on coffee. It was actually just before I went to the hospital for the first time and be like, I want to kill myself. And they're like, all right, we're going to talk about it. And at that point, I stopped drinking coffee for like
I'm sorry,
3
I got
years.
you coffee.
No, I'm
Sorry.
back on the coffee train now. And in this sabbatical time, I've been like drinking a bit of alcohol.
Way to go, you
And I've
bloody
been,
jerk! You told me to get him one.
Oh no, this is my third one today.
Okay.
Oh, buddy.
Okay.
I'm
Nice.
gonna pour that down the drain for you.
I've only drank like a quarter, but
Yeah,
I spent a lot of time at Monogram.
it's a delicious coffee place.
Yeah, oh yeah. I am a patron of theirs, you could say.
Ooh. Yeah, they make a delicious cup. Ernie's not a huge fan of the fancy dancy coffee. He's a meat and potatoes kind
It's
of guy.
different, yeah.
So like I go there and I get their their star blend or something, the Starry Night or something. What is it?
Is it off the drip? I think that's their drip one.
No, I was pour over.
The cool one right now is the Kibarizi
Ooh.
from Rwanda. That's sweet. And then there's like a Canyon Mountain or something.
I did not realize that all coffee originated from
Colombia?
Ethiopia.
Yeah.
I was gonna say. Yeah, I did not realize that.
Yeah,
And
the
then-
bean was there.
Yeah, it started there.
Yeah.
Ethiopia.
And then as you grow it in different environments, it tastes different.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like Colombian coffee. There's actually coffee that people feed to these cats, and then the cats poop them out.
Classic.
And then they take the beans and like make coffee out of
Yeah.
it. It's like the most expensive coffee in
Yeah.
the
What's
world.
it called? Kitty litter?
Yeah, it should be.
Jesus.
You're picking it out as you
Yeah,
put it
yeah,
in the
yeah.
filter.
This is really expensive cat shit.
It is, though.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Called-
Jolie's really good.
It's called litter box.
So the next time you go to Monogram, don't think of it like Tim Hortons. Think of it like you're drinking tea. Be like, I'm going to drink tea.
He doesn't drink.
And then be like, oh, it's its own thing. And if you want a cup of coffee in your definition, just go to Tim's.
Well, see, I've been actually on a tea kick just because of my throat, and it's actually been helping. I've been just drinking tea with milk, and it's helped quite a bit. Like I'll get coughing spells, and believe it or not, this is actually better than it
You
has been.
sound way better than you did last week.
But yeah, no, I don't like the fancy coffee. I'm not a huge fan.
Like, I
And
took him
I've
to
tried the Jamaican one too.
Ooh,
I tried
yeah.
one of them just to try it, and I think just about blew my socks off. I was like, "Yo, this is strong."
Oh yeah, that's the Bob Marley coffee, eh?
Mhm,
Oh, it's good. Oh man.
Where do you get that?
I have K-cups.
Yeah,
Oh,
you can get them
yeah,
wherever
yeah,
you get
yeah,
K-cups.
yeah,
You can get
yeah,
them from
nice.
No, like so probably my two favorite coffee joints around here are three. So there is the Monograms, there's Blackwing,
Oh, yeah.
and then there's the place Anubis Coffee on on King Street. I really
I
like
hear
Anubis.
Red Eye's pretty good too.
Oh yeah, Red Eye
Yeah.
Cafe.
Where's that?
That's on Highway 24. They make a really good Americano.
Okay.
They're a donut place actually as well.
Where? In Cambridge?
Yeah, on Highway 24. You know where the PetSmart is?
Yeah.
And the
Oh.
Williams. In that plaza,
Oh.
there's this really cool donut place and coffee.
Wow.
They're actually coming on the podcast. in a
No
couple
way.
weeks. Yeah.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah. They're definitely really good.
A big shout out if you want to do local, like top notch
Yeah.
coffee is a place called Show and Tell.
Hang on a second. So my wife and I were having this conversation. I'm like, I need to start writing down new places to go get coffee.
Okay, Show and Tell.
Where's that?
That's in Kitchener still.
Okay.
It just look up Show and Tell, and it houses two of Canada's national competitor baristas
Ooh.
in the same building.
Like a Percy's or people?
Like what?
A barista is
A
a
barista is
person.
a
A person,
Yes.
yeah, the person
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
your coffee
Yeah.
is
Ooh,
the barista.
Do you want me to write it down so you can read it?
I can read it.
Nice.
Yeah, I have doctor
Yeah.
handwriting.
Yeah,
Show and
so-
tell. Where is it?
Show and tell.
What
It's
street?
like right off of the downtown core of Kitchener. So man, I don't even know the street, but
That's all right. I'll look it up.
Like, is it
It's
before,
there.
So what would I
before the
what-
McDonald's?
What would I order there? A nice Americano or
ask them what. I go in and be like, okay, what do you recommend in pour over? And
over.
they'll probably be like, oh, do you want to go like chocolatey or do you want to go fruity? And just be like, I usually say like, if it's Ellie that's working, I'll be like, what would you drink right now? And she'll be like, this.
Ellie? Is that the person I'm looking for?
Yeah, but it might be other people too.
That's fine. I'll just leave if she's not there.
Yeah.
Is
you
Ellie
walk
here?
in-
No. Can I get you something? No.
Nah.
No,
Peace,
no.
bro. Peace.
She's the national champ for like AeroPress, and then she went and competed at the Worlds this year for AeroPress
Oh boy.
coffee. And yes,
Man, there is
Big
something to
name.
be said about someone who knows how to make a good cup of coffee.
yeah, but
Like-
it's different than what you're thinking. And if you sit there and you're like, I'm gonna put some sugar and milk in this, she'll be like, nah. Just,
Oh yeah, get out. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. Don't
Yeah.
mess up the
She'll
system.
give it to you in a glass, and you'll see it, and you can see right through the coffee. Like it's like kind of thin, but it's just flavored.
Sounds good.
Yeah, and taste it off of your second sipping, not your first.
Yeah,
So
because
sip it once,
the initial
and
palate.
then
Yeah,
sip
yeah. I know about whiskey.
Oh, yeah,
I'm a whiskey
whiskey,
guy.
yeah.
It's the same thing.
Do you do the open mouth, open nose, inhale, taste?
Well, I use a special those. It's a Scottish Caliander cup for the nose notes. Ernie hates this shit when I talk like this. So the nose notes, and then you swish it, and then as you drink it in the first one, you go, and then you swish it around, and it's tip top. Are you a whiskey guy?
My hopefully future brother-in-law is a whiskey guy, and he has been like, drink this. So I guess I can shout out Wild Turkey 101 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, no, you don't want something that's easy to drink. You want to wrestle with it as you're drinking it. But like, I drink so minimally. Like,
Yeah.
I feel bad drinking this.
Don't.
Like,
I was actually. I wish I would have had time to pour. I'm actually on holidays now for the next 4 days for my birthday, and
Holla. I
Yeah.
should have brought stuff.
no. You didn't bring anything.
I did bring stuff. Can I give them to you?
You can if you want.
We got gifts.
We really appreciate it.
Have you guys done gifts? You do a gift section?
We've had so
Here it comes.
gift section.
Here it comes.
We had a guy come on Clint, and
Yeah.
he brought us boar
Yeah.
sticks.
Yeah.
What else did he bring?
Boar? Wild boar?
Wild boar steaks.
Oh, so cool.
And two different sauces. So one
a
was
homemade-
was the face of the sun hot,
Wasn't that bad actually. I put it on
was pretty
homemade chicken tacos, and
was
it was the
pretty
most
bloody
delicious
hot.
thing I've ever had.
and then the chocolate barbecue sauce.
Whoa.
That like homemade.
Yeah.
What's your review on that one?
So-
Fantabulous.
So
Yeah.
just so you know, this weekend I'm actually gonna put that barbecue sauce on some ribs. I'm gonna make up on Saturday. Just so you know.
So cool.
Yeah.
You guys gonna have like
Nice.
podcast barbecue nights where fans and guests can just
So
come
I'm
over,
hoping
or
to
is
get
that
Clint
weird?
back on, and I'm gonna like.
Yeah.
He's you gotta listen to that podcast.
I haven't
It's
done that
unfortunate
one.
you haven't
but
listened to that one.
I heard Chris.
It
I
was
heard
really
you
good.
talk about it on Chris's podcast.
Yeah.
Like we got the vegetarian guy in after the meat guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it was well
And
timed.
then Ernie got a hat on our last podcast. That's what he's wearing right now.
Yeah, from my buddies at 586 events.
Thanks,
Okay.
man.
Here
I
is
love
your first
stickers.
gift. This is the ever sought after collection 1 hashtag
Yeah.
Hope sticker pack. There's
Thanks, man.
There's only 50 left. We've a lot of the people who bought those, the money from those stickers went into the car.
Can I ask? Do you make some decent cash off your merch?
Okay, well, at the
Okay.
beginning it was like just basically give it away for free, right? Because that piece of clothing was an aspect of content and an aspect of inspiration, and so now.
awesome.
So if you're like sitting there and you're like wearing this shirt, you're like, oh, this was this guy that talked about dying, and I reflected or I resonated with him. I'm going to wear this with pride and say, I want to be a reflection of hope in my own life. Even though I want to die, I'm going to persevere wearing this shirt. So at the beginning, it was like, okay, if
Thanks,
it cost
man.
me like $8 to make this shirt or these stickers, like stickers, I would have just given them away for free, and now I'm charging for stickers, and I feel horrible. But
No,
we're
no,
doing it
no.
in like a pack sense. So back in the day, it was like, okay, mate, I would sell it for like $10 if I spent $8, so make like nothing. Where nowadays I'm like, this guy who's really a business guy, you could say, he's like, Nick, if you're on a basketball or a hockey team and you don't follow the rules of the game, you don't get to play the game. business is the same way. If you don't follow the rules of the game, you don't get to be in business. And I was like, oh, he's like, so you got to up your percentage of profit margins. And I'm like, oh, he's like, charge more? He's like, yes, charge way more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's a thing there as well. Like youth have an expendable income.
Yeah, which
youth.
I'm believing now. And at the
Yeah.
time, it's like, oh, when I was a kid, if I had $10, I would like,
Blow
I'm
it.
going to save this. No, I'm going to save this $10 for like the rest of my life.
Oh,
You know, I was the opposite.
Yeah.
I never had money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Now I see these kids and they're just like, they'll like come over, they'll look at the table. They'll be like, okay, you have
That,
this and this and this.
that,
And then
that.
they'll leave. I'm like, oh, I guess he didn't have enough money. No, parent in from the car. Parent's credit card down on the table. And I just like divert my attention over to the parent. I'm like, thank you so much for doing this. Like, you're supporting this thing I'm trying to do. Like, thank you. I know your kid's going to love it, but like, thank
Just
you
so
for
you know.
dishing this out.
Just understand where that money's going.
Is it okay if I put these stickers around town? Like, so
Yeah.
so actually, Ernie and I have been talking about this for like another way that we're gonna kind of like move the podcast is get stickers and then go through like drive-throughs and like put them on the
Yeah.
post when people are like sitting there waiting. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, what's that? Like, I
Yeah.
want to like so that our logo, which is on
Yep.
the wall there, we want to get stickers made and then like put them around town. So like stop signs and like
Yep.
drive-through posts and
Drive-thrus
stuff.
are big.
What are you using for your
Okay,
stickers?
so here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna use a company called Sticker Mule. They're
That's
out of
what
the
everybody
States.
keeps telling me.
Okay, and you're gonna use my discount so that I get a discount when you use it. So you get $12 off your first order, and I get $12 off my next order.
Done.
Oh.
What do I write?
I'll send you the link.
Okay, we'll talk about it
Stickermule.com.
later.
Cool, man. Yeah.
I wish I could shout it out so everyone could use it. But
That's
if you want to make
Sticker Mule.
stickers, just message #HopeCA.
So that's the second time we've heard about Sticker Mule.
Sticker
Yeah, it
Mule
is.
changed the game. Stickers
Yeah.
used to be so hard to get. You would go to a local shop, it'd be terrible, or you'd order out of Colorado from this place called Sticker Giant, and they made really high quality stickers, but you spent so much on taxes and duty fees and shipping and all this stuff. Sticker Mule, they're like, okay, we understand that's a thing. You're gonna pay this much money for all these stickers, whatever that number changes per how much you buy, and they're gonna cover shipping and they're gonna cover the duty costs. They just want you to get the stickers. That put them on the map, like big time.
Where are they from?
They are printing out of New York State.
Huh.
So, and it's like once they ship it, it's here in 3 days.
Wow.
They have
Really?
like a 4-day turnaround, I think.
Wow.
So
Sticker
it's really
Mule.
cool.
We're
Sticker
about
Mule.
to-
I
we're
wish
about to-
I wish I
That's
was
great.
endorsed.
We're
by
about to hook them up with some business.
That's great. Yeah.
They do good work. Those are laser cut, believe it or not. They have a.
I believe it.
laser
Just
that
the
cuts
feel,
those.
just from feeling the quality of them. They're
Thanks,
Okay,
man.
next gift. I have 2 T-shirts that I hope you appreciate. I brought everyone a size bigger than what you told me to bring. Not because I think you guys are in the obese category.
We're hustling.
hey,
But,
come on now. Tip Top
but
Taylor thinks we
because
can fit in that shit.
this particular run of shirts shrinks, especially if you
Okay.
throw it in the dryer. So feel free to throw it in the dryer. And this is
Thanks,
a
man.
discontinued design.
Wow. That was very kind of you.
That's awesome.
I probably get the extra large.
So there's a 2X and a single
Yeah,
X,
you
I
get
think.
you get
Yep.
two.
No, I got the 2X right
You
here.
got
Ernie.
two.
I wear the
2X? Okay,
double.
good.
I'm a double.
Thanks
sought
so
after.
much, man.
People like. So if you want to be a billboard for the word hope, there you are. It's on your back,
And
and you can't get rid of
So,
it.
just I see this around a lot.
Really?
People wearing #hope.
You know, I hear that,
I
and
see it a
I've seen
lot.
it a couple of times, and I'm like, oh, I know that person.
Remember the one time you found it at Value Village?
Yeah.
What?
Right in the middle of like my time off. It was like, oh no, like my identity. People are throwing it away.
But
And
then I messaged him and I said, "Hey man, people get fat."
Yeah. Well, imagine like I sold
Thanks, man,
I sold
for
a
sure.
small
That's
hoodie
great.
to some kid, and now that kid is like still alive. So and they've given their
People get
hoodie
fat,
off
man.
to, or just grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that sort of thing. So
Thank you so
You have a
much.
couple
dude.
shirts.
I appreciate
it.
that.
That's
stickers.
awesome.
that
That's great.
bird sticker in there, I'll just shout it out. That's we're calling it the bird,
Mm-hmm.
and people want that sticker.
Okay, I will not put
Okay.
this on a post.
Okay.
I'll just keep it.
People buy it just for that. They'll spend the like $10 plus shipping
That's awesome.
for that sticker.
I was
That's a great
debating
sticker.
throwing it on the laptop because for as many people we get in here, right? I like keeping stuff on the laptop.
I'm gonna
there.
put this
Yeah, do
around in here. Yeah.
So
That's
I've
great, man.
I've done oh, and there's a sticker in there that says it's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Unreleased sticker. So
What?
some like grade 9 is like, oh, I want the unreleased sticker.
I hope people listen to the podcast because you're so cool. Right now we bring people on that have a following. Luckily, and then we get more listens because of that. So,
That's a great business strategy. Trust me.
True enough, too, though. Like that's when we first started. We're like, you know what? Why don't we start bringing
Selfishly.
some people on? We
Selfishly.
were just kind of like,
but
let's just start bringing some people on that have some good following. You know, it'll kind of boost our numbers. But now it's just kind of like,
I don't
yeah,
really
but what
care.
happens if they come on and they have nothing to say?
Right.
and it's just kind of like you're
or they don't even
interesting-
shout us out, or like they don't really appreciate the.
and it sounds forced.
Now I don't care. Now
Yeah.
now if someone listens to this, when I hear about it, like I hear about it randomly. People go, "Hey, I listened to that podcast about the guy who was in jail because I worked downtown at a community center." I said, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, I learned a lot from that podcast, and I wanted to let you know I appreciated it." I was like,
Isn't it wild?
oh, okay, cool. I'm glad that you enjoyed it."
Yeah.
Or what was the one? I'm trying to think of another one. Someone messaged me and was like, "Hey, I listened to that podcast. Oh yeah, about Dan. When we first had Dan on talking about like hanging from the hooks and stuff. They're like, that scared me inside and out."
terrifying.
I was like, "Yeah, me too."
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah. We
Yep.
should- yeah. And then you didn't
Yep.
see the stuff that he was sending us after the fact. His sweet books about his penis modification book that we got
thanks.
after the fact. I'm like, thanks, Dan.
yeah.
I love Dan. Dan, shout out to Dan if he's listening to
Shout
this.
out
We
Dan.
love you and we miss you.
We miss you, bro.
Yeah.
So you guys are here, episode 20.
Yeah.
Like, do you feel like you're podcasters yet?
I put that on my resume yesterday.
no
Actually,
way.
today,
Did you really?
I'm updating my resume. I'm
One.
applying for a new internal job,
Oh,
and I
okay.
put it on my activities, volunteering, and achievements. I put up podcasting.
I think so.
Ernie's
I
gonna
think
put,
I'm gonna
jamming
keep.
the microphone
I'm gonna
on his-
get
on
the
the
microphone
cable.
flicker. But no, I don't know. It's
Yeah, sure.
He set
I
up
think
that he
so.
does all the tech, and all
Yeah.
we razz him for is like,
And-
stop touching the mic.
I know. I keep bumping the.
I couldn't probably if Ernie wasn't here, I probably could not do the podcast as well. I could figure it out eventually.
Yeah,
but
voice
this
memo.
This is Ernie's jam. This is Ernie's jam.
Hey, that's what's up.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of.
I don't know what I add to
kinda
it, but I
tinkering
definitely
and-
Ernie adds to it more than I do on the
No, it's just you can hear it, right? You can really hear the sound quality is completely different than our
picky.
iPhone. and that.
As you heard when he walked in, he was talking about the last podcast we did. It was okay. The audio wasn't so great, and it's like, I know it's gonna sound great. It's good that you're picky.
So I'll throw a compliment your way.
Sure,
So
man.
I've set up a couple podcasts for people, as I initially went to school for sound design and live sound stuff, and toured a bit with some bands doing tech stuff. But I don't want to touch it anymore. But I had a couple friends who are like, we got to set up a podcast. And when I walked in and saw that thing right there,
The headphone.
yeah, I knew I
Yeah.
was in good hands.
Yeah?
The headphone monitor splitter. I knew I was in good hands right
So
there.
we just
Yeah.
so we just got that. What we were doing off
3
of it
podcasts
before.
ago.
Yeah, what we were doing before was we were running all of our audio out of the headphones, off of splitters, off of the mixer, and off of the main out because I'm running it off of another part of the
Okay.
mixer. And I'm like, you know what? I've seen it. I read into it a whole bunch, and I'm like, what can I do to help with the headphones? So I invested in
Yep.
the
Is it a Behringer?
amp. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're
Ernie. Okay, there's a great story behind that. So Ernie
Oh,
got that.
man.
Ernie got that off Kijiji.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Him and I drove to. So someone that Ernie knows in London
Yeah.
bought it for him off Kijiji. Ernie and I drove to London to go pick this up and talk to a guy who's probably going to be hopefully a future.
Alex Jones on ours.
He's like
Oh, yeah.
our version of Alex Jones.
the local.
Oh, yeah.
the local.
But
Alex Jones.
He's out there, and it's going to be a lot of censoring.
Yeah,
I think
Nice.
it probably won't completely be.
it'll be the first one that
Most
I
of
think
the
we'll have
times
to
we
add.
just
It.
record and just
Sure.
push it right on because we do some.
Just
we,
run a
we do it.
disclaimer at the beginning. Like,
Yeah, I
what's
don't
up,
know.
kids?
I don't know.
Really? It's
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I'm like,
Like,
I've never met this person.
I can't even
Ernie's, like, I'm like, so I'll set this up. So we drive there, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna go pick up this thing, and Ernie talked about
I
it.
did warn you though. In all
No,
fairness,
you didn't. So I'm sitting there in the car, and I'm just like, Ernie's went in there and talked to the guy, and the guy's like, but he starts spouting off, and I like look up from my phone, and I open my mouth. I can't believe what he's coming out of his mouth in public. What he's
Yeah.
saying. And he looks at me. He's instantly getting mad. He's like, yeah, I say these things. Yeah, this is what's up. And I'm just like, okay, man. Like, you know how you ever met like a drunk guy and he gets grumpy and he comes to you and you're like, yeah, man, I get it. I
Yeah.
was doing that to him. Yeah, man, no problem, no
you
problem,
just
dude.
wanted to diffuse.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's like my bread and butter is diffusing issues. So I'm like, yeah, man, I hear you. Yeah, bro.
but it
Let's-
just kept escalating. There
and
was
he-
no
and he kept
kind
getting
of.
fired up, and he's just like, and I'm just like, I looked at Ernie and I'm just like, let's get, like, I'm allowed to leave. I'm not paying to be here, so I'm like, what's going on?
So you're like in his house?
No.
outside.
He's outside yelling about his
His
where he
neighbors,
lives and
yeah.
his neighbors, and I'm in the car
Yeah.
sitting there with the windows down, and Ernie's just like, yeah, man, so you should come on the podcast. And I look at her, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
You said that?
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
And he's like, yeah, podcast. Yeah, we can talk about this. The podcast. Yeah, podcast, bro. Let's talk. Like, I'm like, Oh boy.
Yeah.
So then and then Ernie's like, "What do you think about coming to the podcast?" This guy's like, "No, I'll get myself in trouble." I'm like, "I think you would too."
Oh, so he was like, nah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but then
I
we
don't
saw
know.
him.
You
We
should
saw him.
take it to him.
We saw him a
Some
little
week
while
ago.
ago. Yeah, and he's like, "That podcast, that might be interesting."
I'm like, "Oh boy."
You're gonna have to get a bleep button, I think.
Or
But yeah,
like
no,
edit.
that was the first thing that I got.
Yeah.
I explained that to Jeremy that
Four
that was
mics.
going to be our game changer because it had everything that we needed for our
Yep.
mics that we just got. And then and then we were debating if we wanted headphones but now that we have them, it's kind of like
Well, we talked about it. Like, what do we need? I'm like, what do we need right now? What do we want to spend money on? And so we just kind of like step by step by step. Well, we need this. Okay. Well, if we want to have 4 mics, we're gonna need 4 headphones because headphones are good for, like, for instance, we did a podcast with Tony from Barber Pole & Co. He wasn't wearing headphones. He didn't realize that he was talking way back here.
Sure.
He was moving around. So if he had headphones, it would have been a better quality. So we're always trying to step up
Yep.
the game of the quality and what we're going to spend our money on. And so now we're at this point where we've got everything we need.
And
so
everything
far.
here was from Kijiji.
Nice.
Yeah.
The only thing, if I was doing it, this isn't good. These are amazing microphones. Have you heard of the SM7B?
Nope.
So these are condensers. Are they dynamic or whatever they
they're
are?
like a half and half, I think.
Are
They're
they?
like the classic radio mic. and
they're
you
the
have
ones-
to bury.
Yeah,
voice,
they'll
your
face
face.
you, right?
Yeah.
Whereas these ones, because of the way that they're set up, they need their own power source as
Yeah,
well.
48.
But I just from reading online, everything that I read online, they're really bassy. That's
yeah,
what I. That's
they
what
actually
I
have
read.
a switch on the bottom of them, and you can flip it to
Oh, yeah.
offset or increase depending on your person.
Oh.
So if you watch Joe Rogan,
Yeah.
he's on this. Those are SM7Bs.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah, they're
And-
high.
And
Yeah.
they're really they're really talking. into
Yeah, they
those.
like if you watch Joe, he's like
Yeah. It's like
tasting
kissing
it.
it.
Yeah.
You have to be a fist away from your face at least with that one. Where these ones you can be back a little bit, and like even with sometimes when we have like that last podcast when Mike was sitting where you're sitting right now, and the mic was over to the right, you could still pick up Mike as well. But I think with those ones, if you had somebody else in the room
Yeah.
that was talking loud, you wouldn't pick them
Yeah.
up at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
you'll see
yeah,
on
no.
Rogan if someone's not doing it, he'll be like, hey.
Yeah,
He'll like get it
yeah.
back in your
Yeah.
face.
Yeah,
they're
and
very
and he's got a
close.
Jamie too, though. That
Yeah.
also helps, right?
Yeah.
Yo, shout out Jamie, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Dude's
That guy's
like, I want to be
the
friends
un-
with him.
He was getting that last podcast with Anthony Santana. I think that's the guy's name.
Santino.
They were just shitting on Jamie that whole podcast. Like,
Oh.
what's wrong with you, Jamie? Like, what are you telling us about? Because like
He
was
runs it.
he was speaking up a lot, and which he
Okay.
usually doesn't. And then Rogan's like, "What are you talking about, man? Like, what are you trying to pull us down?" He's like, "I'm just trying to say." And I'm like, "Poor guy. He doesn't get a word in. Like, he's got to be intimidated when Joe's bringing in like Mel Gibson. The guy snapped like. Remember that? Did you listen to that podcast? Mel Gibson the whole time is clicking a pen. Click, 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 click. Like you can hear it. I'm almost like, what is that clicking? And then Jamie's like, I wanted to say something, but I couldn't.
Yeah.
Because it's Mel Gibson. Like they were talking about that stem cell research or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So the whole time he's clicking a pen, and Joe's
Like
like, I didn't want
Guatemala.
to stop him either. What he's gonna say? Hey Mel,
Yeah.
enough with the pen.
Yeah.
Like he's like,
He had
Stop
that
this.
one with Eddie Bravo too. Remember when Eddie was going
eating
off
the cheese?
about no. Eddie was going off about all that stuff on YouTube and Jamie's looking it up as he's saying it, and he's like, "No, man." He's like, "Look, I looked up the exact website that you were talking about,
yeah.
and that's not right.
I think
that's not what they're
I
saying."
think Jamie has a relationship with that crew of guys, like the core crew,
Mhm.
like Bert Kreischer and like
Dalia.
those main guys.
Yeah.
Like he has,
Yeah.
like Jamie has a relationship
For
with
sure.
those
Oh, yeah.
guys.
Well, he's got to because he's
He
been
sees
there
them a
since
lot.
the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Well, he like coached Joey Diaz into being able to set up his podcast, and
Well, he's,
you ever
he's,
watch
he's like a
that
sound
one,
guy
though?
though, right?
yeah, he's unreal. Yo,
I like-
you know how
I like
fast
Joey.
he can Google
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. In 3 seconds.
Unreal.
Yeah.
I just want to say that.
Like Joe's
Yeah.
like, I want to talk about
Got
coffee.
it.
That's exactly.
And as he's saying coffee, and cat craps it out. Okay.
Yeah, yep, got it. And it's right here, and it's from Ethiopia,
And vegan cats, got it.
Yeah. Vegan cat.
Space is fake.
Space Force.
Birds are fake too, actually. Just that's
Yeah,
a thing.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm proud of you guys for doing this.
You're proud
Thanks,
of us.
man.
Absolutely. It was like, okay, you see a lot of podcasts show up and
Oh,
die
yeah.
quickly. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
there's been a podcast boom, like obviously you know about that and whatever. So now you
Yeah,
guys are here
ooh.
and you're like, you're up and running. You know, it's
Yep.
not like, oh, I haven't heard from that podcast in 7 months. Oh, I
Nope.
guess he doesn't do
We
that anymore.
we make
We're
sure.
booked too.
Yeah,
Holy-
booked for
That's
the whole
so
summer.
cool.
Booked for the whole summer.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Thanks for putting me in.
Yeah. That's
No
why I'm trying to
worries,
get
man.
you on, man.
No.
That's
way.
why we're like, okay, Thursday. Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
we're a week ahead now because I booked you in.
Okay.
And I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't
Because there's another person tomorrow.
No, I'm
No.
posting one tomorrow. So the secret's out. Just so people know. No, it's okay. We now are recording a week ahead, just in case someone bails. We've had people bail.
Yeah.
And then Ernie and I be like, ooh, like what do we do here?
We haven't decided if we wanted to do one with just the two of us. We could, just like we did with the first couple, but I don't know. It just turns into us talking about bear attacks again.
Yeah, or coffee, or what music is cool right now, and like we don't want to be that podcast. I like Joe Rogan. That's the first podcast I listened to, and I like that he brings guests on and then has a actually long conversation that's well thought out.
It's
I
where
like that.
long form.
So why can't I do that for the Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge area?
Yeah.
I can get people that own businesses or influential people, get them to come on, just talk about what they do and who they are and why. Why not?
Well, let me say this: I've done one other interview with microphones. It was a Christian radio station. Shout out Tom Labonte.
Tom Labonte, I know
he
Tom.
had me on.
Love that guy.
Took a risk, and said, "Yeah, get on here." But that's the only thing I've ever done. And for you guys to hit me up, I was like, "Absolutely!" That's like, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, man.
And so I'm stoked to be here. And I think so. Off of that, I think you have such an appeal to give these people who. So myself, I'm a public speaker to a certain extent. So I'm using microphones. But a lot of people who are running businesses and say they're like building motorcycles or something, they're not out public speaking. They don't have a platform all the time to speak. So for you guys to be like, hey, come tell us why and what you're doing. Yep. And now here you are, and you're putting those people on a pedestal. Yeah. And you're just facilitating that for them. So you have a gift that you're giving to people, and it's myself included.
People jumping on it. I couldn't believe it.
I haven't done anything in a year and a half. I thought, people are going to forget about me, and you're like, come tell us. Like, come speak about it. And now here I am talking about that space I created for myself, and I'm grateful. So,
man, anytime.
Yeah. Nice, man.
It's and for me, I'm selfish. The only way I'm selfish in it now is that I gain their knowledge. I'm like, I want to know their story.
That's it.
I want to know their story so bad.
Yep.
I want to know why they did it. And for me, it's like a lifelong learning. Like, for instance, like I'm really like, if you're listening to this, the guys who run Jackass Brewery or Wavemaker Brewery, I want you guys on. I want to talk to you.
Nice.
And like, I want to talk to you. I want to hear about your beer and stuff. And like I'm really like, that's what interests me.
That's cool.
Ernie, and it's cool when Ernie brings people on. I have no idea who they are, and I can just.
Yeah.
So we brought
natural intrigue.
I had no idea how big 586 is. That's how.
Oh, you didn't?
That's right. 586
Yeah, 586
I
events.
had no idea how huge they were. We had these 3 gentlemen come on last week, and like they're running $1 million business, maybe.
I'd say pretty close.
I had no idea. I just thought they were like 3 cool guys that I would get to talk to, and like I'm like they're very very casual, reserved,
yeah.
And I'm throwing out numbers like we talk about like Shadywood events. And when Ernie makes we talked about the numbers and stuff, and they were just like, oh, we would just charge that for 3 hours. I'm like, oh, what?
Whoa.
And like the way that like, in their lives are so complicated and like so, I'm like, they came on our podcast and talked to us. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And they're just bros with Ernie. You know what I mean? Like,
right on.
So, and I want to make those connections, and I hope that like. We can make this like cool community of other people that are like, hey, so did you go on the PMA podcast yet? I would hope that would happen.
Yeah.
Not that I would stop doing it, but I just want people to come on and talk and like I don't know. I want to be like the local. No, I'm not gonna.
I think the KW podcast.
Well, no, I want to promote.
I'm not changing the brand, but I'm just saying.
I don't know any podcasts else around here that are like this.
Like, how about this? How about you have like this word of mouth where people are like, someone else finds someone who's doing something cool. And they said, you need to go on the PMA. Like, you need to go beyond that.
But then again, what the question is, why would they want to come on?
Well, that's your job. It's you guys do such a good job that other people who aren't hardly associated, they're just listeners. They're like, you need to go here. Just like you see in comment sections of like people doing famous things. They're like, go on Rogan. Go on Rogan. Yeah. Well, you guys are the local that.
I want it. I want that. And I want to be, and Ernie's made the audio quality that way. And
absolutely.
I work on the content.
You're set up for it, and it's just you just have to put in the time.
This is
now.
the room. Like I don't do anything else with this room.
Yeah,
this is our podcast room.
Next thing you'll have like sound dampening. You'll have a sound wall here.
These are sound dampening roof tiles. That actually was a purchase of the house because this was the master bedroom of the house when we bought it.
Okay, odd
the mom and the dad kept
they
the
were
basement.
humpers.
They were like, we need soundproofing for some reason. I don't know.
They had 6 kids in this house.
Not old enough yet.
They had 6 kids in this house. I only have
made in this room. Is that what's?
I don't know.
Is that why they sound?
I don't know.
Oh man,
a lot of love made in this room.
There's a lot of love in this room. No. But that's what the real estate guy was like. Yeah, these are actually sound deafening tiles, so they're expensive. I said, well, cool.
I wonder if it's more sound dampening the other way. Like if people are walking up here, it allows people to sleep because there were 6 kids running around upstairs.
Maybe
before there was Fortnite.
But we're trying to make it our own, and maybe I'll update the flooring one of these days.
Nah.
Just find old mattresses or mattress.
No.
Just like
you don't know my wife,
around.
bro. No,
Yeah, that wouldn't fly.
no.
Excuse me, what are you doing with that? That's not
Did you look at my house? I'm a homeless guy and I live here. I'm lucky to live here. There's no way.
Shelter.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I remember when I first bought this house, I was sitting on the floor. I had just purchased it. I was maybe a year in, and she had made it beautiful. And I'm like sitting on the floor petting my dog. I'm drinking a cup of coffee. I'm like, this place is way too nice for this Alexis. Like Alexis and I have lived in some really weird places. And I'm just sitting there petting my dog. I'm like, this place is super nice for us. We made it.
Nice.
My dog's like, yeah, shut up. I'm gonna go dig a hole in your backyard, you prick.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
That's sweet.
But no, I appreciate it. And you were saying too, like you've been listening for a long time. So
Yeah,
I'm sure
that's so awesome.
the difference between us having an iPhone on a planter to
Yeah, we
now,
had an iPhone on a
in the early days.
and
That was a
which
white
like
planter.
up ahead, like we put it up so the audio could reach it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
the
So it was
logic
basically
there.
we had it so
I
it
don't know.
would be when you spoke, it would be at eye level.
I don't know
Okay.
if the logic was there. For
I
that.
don't
When you would
know
try
either.
to- No, I mean it's
You'd project
Like-
forward.
when you tell these kids that you talk to these kids who want to be YouTubers or something, and they're like, "Well, I don't have enough gear." You're like, You probably own like a really good smartphone
Yeah.
that you've been given,
Yep.
or an iPod Touch with a camera. It's like use that camera.
Yeah, the first
Use
six.
what you have.
The first 6 podcasts were on the iPhone.
Unreal.
Nothing else.
Yeah.
Nothing else. No headphones. We were just sitting
Just
talking.
did it.
Yeah.
And that's great because like someone myself, I'm always kind of sniffing around for authenticity, and that screams like you wanted to podcast. You didn't want to.
We did.
Like, oh, I can't do anything until I have SM7Bs and condenser microphones.
No.
We can't say a word. But you're like, no, we got something to say. Let's go.
Yeah.
And now you're here.
And weren't we just originally on YouTube?
No, we were on iTunes. We were
SoundCloud?
just using
Nope. Podomatic. We used Podomatic.
Podomatic. But we
Um,
weren't paying for it though.
Yeah, I can't remember.
We
I
had
can't-
that free trial. Remember? We had a free
Yeah.
trial.
And like, so we recorded one. We're like, okay, how do we do this? And then Ernie and I, for like 3 hours, I'm on my phone, he's on his laptop. We're researching how to put a podcast.
It's like 1 o'clock in the
No
morning.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
It
It's
was
weird.
It was a little
Like,
hard.
why is it not like YouTube where you just hit upload?
So then I found a one-stop shop that.
We weren't using Podomatic right away.
No, we weren't.
No, we were using something else. I remember because Jeremy figured out how to get it onto YouTube, and there was a program on your phone. Remember, it was that recording program on your phone, and you said that it'll automatically send it to YouTube, and then from YouTube onto iTunes. And then I was at work, and I was just like, I was at
figured it out.
break, and I'm like,
I suppose
Podomatic, and I saw that, and then I sent that link to
It took a
him.
little bit of work to figure out how to get it to where it is now. So now we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, and we do pay for an RSS feed, which makes it one-stop shopping. I just put it online, and it automatically puts it on there for me.
And then they
So-
give us
Okay,
our
yeah,
like
set.
our logistics and all that,
Nice.
so we get
Yep.
an idea.
So
of
I
how
get
many
logistics
and-
from iTunes. I get logistics from Spotify.
You
I
get it
them
from Spotify as well?
Yeah, but it's not much.
No,
And then YouTube's a whole separate thing, but like
because most of the guys at work, that's what they're using is Spotify to download
it's
it.
super easy. I just Spotify. if
I
you're
just got
listening, I
Spotify.
just
I love
bought
it.
Spotify for the first time.
Did you
Yeah.
get the 3 months for 99 cents?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I used it for a wedding last week, and it worked beautiful.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
The fact that we're
Yeah.
living. I used to go to the library in Blenheim,
Yes.
Ontario,
Blenheim.
and they would have a CD section, and it was all crap CDs. But I would check them out with my library card, go back to my dad's work computer,
Burn them.
Rip them.
rip them,
Yeah.
burn them,
Yeah.
return them,
Yeah.
right? And then I would have a burnt CD of like some stupid classical artist. Why do I need that? I don't know. But it was just the concept of having more music.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I can, I want to listen to that song. What's that song called again? Like you find it, then you listen to it, and it's just there.
I love it. I
What
love
world is
Spotify.
this? Where are we?
Yeah.
Everything is here.
When
man.
you know when you download from Spotify, how much room does that take up on your phone? Do you
Like,
know?
probably
I
a
think
couple
it's-
megs.
I think it's just
Really?
the app actually.
And it
I tried
says
to
it.
look it up and I couldn't find it.
Like it'll say what the size is when you go.
But
to
I think it's
download.
just the app. There's an
right.
internal. There's an internal inside the app amount of space you have.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Like, for
that's not actually going on your phone.
like,
It's
for
staying
instance-
because it's not actually downloading on your phone, right?
Well, it is. It's making the app size bigger, but it's in the walls of the app.
Like, for instance, I told you to download that Spotify playlist that's called, where is it? Comedy.
The comedy one.
And it has over 6,500 little comedy clippets because
Right.
I have XM Radio right now.
Nice.
Just got rid of it because I wanted Spotify. And it's like when you go on the comedy channel on XM Radio, it's like 20 seconds, like little things of like, what is it? Like little comedy, like not a full comedy special, but
Yeah,
little snippets of comedy
it's
specials.
one of their
and what this
tracks.
is just a playlist of all that.
Nice.
Like over how
And it's
many
being
hours?
updated and stuff.
It's like 348 hours of that. And
Nice.
you all right?
Didn't want to exhale into the microphone.
Okay, I hear
just
you.
like
Whew,
You
Bob.
didn't want to flick it again?
Yeah.
blowing into it.
But anyway,
Yeah,
man.
Spotify's crazy. I had a friend who's like, "Yeah, I just got it for my family. We only have like 3 people, so do you want in?" So they gave me Spotify
Sweet.
for premium for free. So that's
Rad.
a little perk.
That's like the YouTube
I
trend.
like
Of
it.
people like, you want my password, bro? Here you go.
Or Netflix.
Yeah.
Netflix. Yeah, same.
Yeah. No, I pay for it.
Oh, you're the guy that pays.
My
and everyone
in-laws,
leeches.
get it for free.
Yeah, and
But
you
I
go
love-
on their account and see what they're watching.
Yeah. Frank watches some pretty cool stuff. He's into history. I see.
I like the documentary.
Sometimes I'll go on his account because he has cool stuff that I want to watch. Because on my Netflix, I'm like, I don't want to watch any of this. I have to go on his, and I'm like, whoa, yeah, that sounds cool.
Nice.
Hitler's bodyguards? Yes,
Nice.
please.
Yep.
3 hours? See ya.
Did you watch the one about? We're down some.
Yeah.
Watch the one about the guy who like was basically counting cards, but on The Price is Right.
Yes.
Yes.
I
You
watched
did?
that one.
I haven't seen it
That
yet. Is it
poor
good?
bastard. I
Yeah.
feel so bad for him.
Spoiler.
And he's like, yeah, they didn't listen to me. And like, it's like, oh God, buddy.
Well, the
Like,
big
you're-
variable is you can't fake spinning the wheel. You can't
Yep.
fake your way to the
No.
final
Yeah.
because you
Well,
got
he
to spin
wasn't
over
faking.
the highest
He
one.
just is like this, like,
Right.
I don't know.
That was the ultimate variable is he still
Yeah.
had to spin the highest number and he didn't.
Yep.
But then yeah, the dude at the end, not to spoil it, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm team guy in the documentary.
Yeah, me too. I'm team that guy.
Did you see
Yeah.
when it goes to his other hobbies? It's like then I pursued other hobbies.
He's like this, like,
It's like little figurines and stuff. Okay.
yeah.
Never mind.
He's an interesting cat.
You would build
Yeah. And,
a
like,
game.
You
of it
would have a giant notebook full of numbers, so you could go on The Price is Right and yell them out
and
to help
memorize
people.
them
Yep.
and their variables.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was cool.
What an interesting.
I don't know why I
cat.
watched that. I just was like, I put it on and just did it.
I think I watched it and was like, "You poor bastard!"
Yeah.
Like I'm like, and then he didn't really even win anything.
Yeah. Other than this,
Oh, spoiler alert! Sorry.
because at the end he's just like, well, I just wanted people to hear my story.
Yeah. And I hope he gets more. And there's like this whole. It goes into the whole relationship with like Bob Barker and like
The
the
producers.
producers and stuff, and how
Oh,
like.
seriously?
And then you see like Drew Carey being like, "Yeah," and this guy basically like killed our show because of the he
Yeah.
like. Yeah,
Oh,
you
no
gotta
way.
watch it. It's
Drew
really
Carey always just looked like he was pissed off. When he
Well,
was
there's a
doing that
reason why
show.
he was pissed off, and you gotta watch it.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's hilarious.
Okay, I'll check it
Yeah,
out because
it's
it did. He just was like, and the
No,
price
there's
is
a
right.
reason, and there's a reason, and like he's like, well, this is the end of the show. It's like because something happens. Oh boy,
Right on.
Nick.
great.
How can people help you? So people are listening to this podcast. You better be helping people that come on here. Like, don't just be like lazy and listening. You can be if you want. Totally cool. But I would appreciate it personally if you would help the people or spend money in the businesses or take part in a community. We just talked about community and how important it is and how disjointed we are as a society. I would hope that you would take this seriously.
Right.
And if you don't, I'm going to come and throat punch you. No, I'm not kidding.
No.
Not violent at all.
Whoa,
No, took it there.
whoa.
Nick, how can people help you?
Well, I don't know if this is true or not, but I've been told this myself. They say half the population is a doer and half is a supporter. You find out what you are. Find out if you are an action person or if you support people
Can you
who
be
are
both,
who
ever?
are doing action. Probably.
I
They say
feel like I'm a little bit
one
of
is more true you,
Right.
right? Is where you
Okay.
really want to be, and tap into that, and then look, because everyone who's trying to do stuff that's good needs support. There's no money in the mental health world right now, and if there is, you should do some research and find out why there's money in it. I've been accused of making money off of people's sadness, and I've had to talk people back and say, like, look, that's not what's going on here. I'm doing it so I can keep helping people. That's why we're selling
Obviously,
a
they
product.
don't know who you are.
I'm not forcing a person who wants to die to buy a t-shirt. Actually, a lot of times I'm giving them stuff. If I have a conversation, I'm like, okay, well, take all this.
Yeah, you
And
just
then
gave us a
someone-
bunch of free stuff, man.
Well, this is different. This is marketing.
Okay, fair enough. Oh,
Well, how often
No,
do you
no,
get to go on a podcast and give people gifts? Like,
I've
always wanted.
Nobody's invited me on a podcast yet.
I want to do that. So
I'd go
I did
on
it.
one.
Actually, you know what? Someone did invite me on. Alistair did invite me.
Did you do the one where you watch movies with
He
Alistair?
was gonna invite me on. He invited me on. He gave me a shout out on it too because him and his buddy were about to go record one, and they were at Beer Town. And I was hanging out with Tony from Barber Pole & Co. Him and I were out for a beer, and Alistair was over talking to us, and he shouted us out on that episode.
So good.
And he said he was going to invite me on. But then what happened to that
I wish that podcast was still going. They would watch a movie and talk.
During the movie. So they would say, now go to Netflix, we're going to watch this movie all together as like a big family.
And I'll hit start together.
Yeah, that was their podcast.
I like to watch movies in silence, so it would just be
it's
nothing
weird.
like if me shh.
So, but it's
It's good,
movies.
though.
It's movies that people watch a lot.
You've seen it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alistair. I'll tag him on this.
Yeah.
Hey man, we showed you out.
Yeah.
What happened to that
Top
podcast?
friend. I don't know. You should ask him. Get him on here. Get Alistair on here. Just get Alistair talking about stuff because that in itself is like people want to hear that.
Yeah.
Just goes
I
on.
wanna see what he's doing.
Dude's got a great story.
Yeah.
So if you look into things that are doing good, you'll find avenues to help. For me right now, I've closed like everything. I'm not doing anything until I can fundraise for this car. I still need car parts right now. So yes, I bought the car, but I had raised enough money to buy the car off the Russian guy, and then it was licensing and all that fun stuff that's come in. So I'm still like sitting on a line of credit right now. So I'm trying to zero out my line of credit before I even get back in the car, even though I drove it here today. Get back in the car and go back on the road. So I'm still fundraising, and that's an avenue to help. We're about
Is that
to.
a GoFundMe?
That's still on GoFundMe. Same link you've been shouting out.
Like,
It's
well,
all.
just we're gonna do that from now on. We're gonna keep posting that.
Yeah,
until
we'll
we
keep that
fulfill
up going.
So
or put it in the
GoFundMe.
rotation. Yeah.
No,
So
no.
there's still,
Stuff I care about. We're gonna talk about. People
so
really hear it. So
our goal is we still want to use $2,000 more because, it's about that
Just
to
writing it
probably
down.
get where we want to be. So you can find that on all the social media. #hope, the word hashtag and the word hope, and you'll find it everywhere. Second is once a relaunch happens or something like that, there will be the brand will show itself, and there'll be all of a sudden things to buy, and that is direct funding of the project, or at least it has been. And maybe I'll come up with some breakthrough of how to do that plus others, and we can get a bigger budget somehow. But if you see a T-shirt and you see someone like myself trying to sell it, it's not to take your money and buy a house with. Like I don't think I'll ever buy a house, but it's to take your money, put fuel in the gas tank, or something. We're gonna use it in however we see fit to try to literally save young people's lives or anyone's life, just to deliver this message of hope and create hope awareness around right now Ontario. But I'd love to do the world, and hopefully we're doing that through social media. So other ways that are free is sharing of things. If you see a post or a cool thing that's happening, a video that we've done, a piece of content we made, just it's free for you to do. Just hit share. Boom, share it out. And if you can, tell people why you shared it, because that creates way more interaction. So when you share something, be like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing, or I'm doing this because of this. Share a bit of personal struggle in yourself and why you chose to persevere, because then that makes you a beacon and a representation of hope at the same time. So those are all ways to support. Same goes for this podcast, right? Like you can, any of these episodes, you can share these episodes and create movement.
Yeah, thanks for sharing our episode that one time we shouted you out. You put how did you do that? You took the audio clip of it and then posted it as a video.
I pressed play and then I swiped up on my iPhone, hit record, screen record, got the clip where you were talking about me, put that on the
That was
hashtag
so
Hope
cool,
channels.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, then I archived it because I have like a grid thing happening, but I archived
Pretty
everything.
rad, man. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you posted that one today. You're like, gonna go talk on hashtag Hope. Probably gonna talk about being sad. Now I want to kill myself.
Yeah.
I was gonna send you something nice. I'm like, we'll talk.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, come over and talk about it. Here
Come
we
over.
are.
I want to talk to you. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully I didn't move this chair too much.
No, you were doing good.
Ernie
You were
had you
good.
the whole time.
I had you.
So,
You
yeah,
move back, and I got you.
Ernie's
You
got
move
you.
forward, and you move
Ernie's-
back.
Ernie's-
I'm all
Ernie's-
over it.
just right.
We just gotta get your typing skills up to Jamie's level, and your next best.
Yeah, it's hard to. I don't really want to
You
touch
look
the
great in
laptop.
that hat, by the way. That looks good on you.
It took me
Thank you.
forever to find 586 in it because I thought it was just 66 with a little thing, but it's like got a 5, an 8, and a 6.
Sideways 8, right? Is that what it
Sideways,
is?
yeah, there it is. Everyone look it up.
But it also looks like two musical notes.
It does.
Almost.
Mhm.
What would you call that? 16th?
Well, they're the other way. They could be
16?
just eighth notes.
Yeah,
They would be
because
on
eight
one
dances
stick.
got a tail.
Yeah, they would make
They only got one tail.
one quarter note.
Yeah.
Why are you keeping that sticker on there?
I don't know. When they gave it to me, it still had the sticker on it. He
So
was
cool.
wearing it with the sticker
So
on it.
we had them on, and you'll listen to the podcast. I'm posting it tomorrow. And Ernie's like, so where's my hat? And so we go out back,
like,
and they're
shoot.
like, we were just like after the podcast, we were just talking and stuff, and then they're like, you know what, Ernie, we got some new hats, and I just got this new hat today, and they gave the guy off his own head gave Ernie a hat, so it's
There you
right
go.
now.
I asked them
Guilt.
for a hat a while ago because I'm
They're really
talking
nice.
with them.
Is that
So.
a fitted hat,
No,
or is it a snapback?
snapback.
Beautiful.
I know.
That's a gorgeous hat.
Nice.
I'll talk to them.
Those are expensive.
No,
to
I
make.
don't
Yeah,
want.
you
I don't
do.
want a hat.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
I want to do stuff like yours. I want to do that patch stuff that your Brixton hat has. Shout out.
Oh yeah,
That's,
I love
You
Brixton.
gotta order in high quantity to do that cool stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that you can get done at Lids, but you'll pay a lot more. So
Yes, 100%. And you gotta. Do you have to get that? I can't think of the name of the file. It's got a weird name. It's like a JHL or a JPG or ESL.
SVG,
Yeah,
maybe?
that's
Yeah.
it. That's it. And you have to have like you can make it on your computer, but when you make it on the computer yourself, it just looks like garbage.
Yeah.
I tried it once. And
Yeah,
it
get a
just,
professional.
Yeah. It's not something I'd be
It's like
doing
putting
on
the
my
door
own.
in, you pay somebody to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just threw that out there.
Yeah, sweet.
What numbers are we at here, Ernie?
We are at 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yep.
15.
Yep.
It's our longest one, I think, so far.
I thought it was longer.
So easy.
Let's keep going. Take a pee break. Come back. All right, new topics.
Yeah, well, let's talk about. No, we want come back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to. So I think what we should do is post this. I'm gonna post this in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, sorry. I post
All
it every
good.
2 weeks. I think in the fall, come back on, talk about what's going on.
Yeah, would love to.
And I
So
know
maybe
Maybe I'll bring my business
maybe
partner.
motivation. Yeah, bring him.
Yeah,
Yeah, bring him on. Maybe motivation to like see what's up.
sure.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing if I knew I could hit you up and just be like, can I just talk about it? And
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Dude, anytime you want, just message me. I'll put you on.
and
That's
it's
so cool.
it's his basement, but if you have any sound bites that you want to put out on the Instagram and that, we can
Oh.
record whatever you want, and I can save it and send it to you and make it nice and easy and accessible. So
Whoa! I never even
Whoa.
thought of that, Ernie.
Whoa.
Yeah, he has to be here though, because I don't know what I'm doing.
Second
Super
revenue
easy.
stream almost.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, if you
It's
ever
super
wanted,
easy.
if you ever wanted, like,
Can I do my own podcast down here?
not?
Well, maybe.
we'll have to talk about it.
If I can hang out and drink whiskey while you're just talking.
Just heckle.
Might cost you some
Never
more
thought
stickers.
of
We'll see.
that.
Heckle.
No, I'm just kidding.
So
You could literally be like, okay, $50, you can come to your podcast here.
people do that.
But
Yeah,
if
but
you
it's-
want a live tech, it's like $300 per episode. I don't know, but I don't think that would fly, but
Murphy.
by the hour or something.
I don't think my wife would be cool with that. Be rented
Yeah,
out the
no.
basement.
People-
Wait a minute, she loves money. This is a
Yeah.
great idea here.
we could do the floor, no problem.
No, yeah, I'm gonna redo this floor with click tile.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, clipboard.
So anyway, but yeah. So if ever you want to record something,
It's a
I'd be
spot.
more than happy to help you out.
Very
Nick, you're
cool.
always welcome.
100%.
Thanks, guys.
I feel like I really want to be your friend, and we're like
Yeah.
close there.
Okay.
Can we
No,
be-
we're friends.
Yeah, okay, cool.
No.
Okay.
Great
Sweet.
cause, great guy. Like I say, first time meeting you, man. So
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, man. Thanks
Right
for
on.
that. So, thanks everybody for listening. Like Nick was saying, if you want to help him out, he does have that GoFundMe on his Instagram and the other social medias, and buy some merch, and it goes directly to, because you're saying it's a non-profit.
So no, it's a sole proprietorship right now, which is how I've been running it.
Yeah.
And we're making a pitch to be charitable if and probably when we decide to turn it back on and start touring again, or just new vision, go for it.
I can't
so
wait.
we're in the line basically to become a charity, but it's been a business for good, or they call it a social enterprise. Is what the word is.
I can't wait to see where you are. I hope all the best for you, man.
yeah, same,
Yeah.
same. All right, thanks everybody for listening.
Cheers, man. Thanks a lot.
Peace.